Chapter 864. You're despicable and shameless. You might not know this, but Sheng Kai is impotent and can't have children. Perfect. Song Qiaoji stirred the coffee in her cup with a natural expression. I'm a doctor, and I specialize in treating infertility. You? As she spoke, Gu Xiling wanted to slap Song Qiaoji, but Song Qiaoji easily grabbed her wrist. Haven't you done enough harm to him? In the past, when he was in the Sheng family, you provoked and instigated all kinds of things to drive a wedge between him and his family. Later, when he came to the Gu family, you humiliated him and even pushed him into the abyss. Your Gu family doesn't treat him as a human at all. Instead of that, you might as well give him to me. I just lack a wolf dog that needs to be tamed. Gu Xiling was so angry that her entire body was trembling, and her eyes were filled with hatred. I know that Sheng Kai is like your toy. Even if it's broken, old, and has lost its freshness, he's still yours. If you let go of him immediately, you'll definitely feel uncomfortable. It's okay. I'll let you know what it means to let go. After saying that, Song Qiaoji stood up from the opposite side. Also, even if he's impotent, I can cure him. By the way, I have a lot of powerful men here. If you need them, I can introduce them to you. Gu Xiling really did not expect that even a man like Sheng Kai would one day be snatched from her. Xing Xiao was one thing, but now someone was snatching Sheng Kai from her. Did they think she was a pushover? Was she that easy to bully? Sorry, she was just that easy to bully. After Song Qiaoji returned home, she said to Jin Bo, Dad, I like Sheng Kai. Why don't you take him in as your son-in-law? Jin Bo looked at her in disbelief. Are you serious? Of course. Didn't Dad not believe in him? Let him marry me. This way we can prevent him from returning to the Sheng family. Isn't that killing two birds with one stone? But, you deserve better. Song Qiaoji despised him in her heart. This person was still acting. She knew that Jin Bo had already verbally betrothed her to Sheng Kai. No need. I like Sheng Kai's type. Moreover, I can help Dad supervise and make up for his previous mistake. Jin Bo thought about it and felt that it was not bad, so he said, All right then, who asked my daughter to like it? Who asked my daughter to like him? Early the next morning, Grandpa Gu received a call from Jin Bo asking Gu Xiling to sign the divorce papers. Mr. Jin, why is that? Because my daughter likes Sheng Kai. Grandpa Gu's expression changed slightly, but he did not struggle and said, I'll go do Xiling's work. Gu Xiling never expected that Song Qiaoji's phone call would actually come true. What Gu Xiling did not expect was that her grandfather would force her to divorce because of a phone call from an outsider. Otherwise, he would lock her up at home forever and ground her until she died. Xiling, let go. Grandpa can help you find a better man. Sheng Kai is nothing. Since Mr. Jin's daughter likes it, you should give it to her. Isn't that incompetent? Gu Xiling sat on the carpet at home, feeling cold all over. It's already like this. Can I still not sign it? I hope that the adulterous couple dies without a burial. After saying this, Gu Xiling wrote her name on the divorce agreement and ran back to her room in tears. Sheng Kai had sent countless copies of the divorce agreement. Finally, there was one with Gu Xiling's name written on it. This ill-fated relationship had finally come to an end. Then Jin Bo called Sheng Kai. On the phone, he was as amiable as usual. Akai, don't call me godfather in the future. Call me dad like Qiaoji. Sheng Kai did not understand. In short, Dad is happy for you. After hearing this, Sheng Kai understood why Gu Xiling was willing to sign it. Song Qiaoji had probably put in a lot of effort into it. So, after hanging up with Jin Bo, he called Song Qiaoji. What did you say to Godfather? Isn't it good for us to be together? Song Qiaoji said calmly. I'll let you have dignity. Sheng Kai had no idea why Song Qiaoji was doing this. However, the only thing that made him feel relaxed and relieved was that he finally had nothing to do with the Gu family. Brother is back. I'll take you to have a meal with him. Sheng Kai did not say anything. This meal was unavoidable. Tomorrow was the Yashang group reception. Late at night the night before, Xing Xiao brought Mu Qiqi out to the hospital. Tang Yan was injured and she had yet to show her face. She was still worried, so she begged Xing Xiao to let her show her face. At 11 o'clock at night, Xing Xiao appeared in Tang Yan's ward. Mu Qiqi poked her head in. Captain Tang? Feng Shanshan had gone home to rest. Old Xing was guarding Tang Yan. When he saw Mu Qiqi, he was stunned. Qiqi, aren't you seriously ill? Yes, I have an infectious disease. I've been quarantined for a long time, so I came out to get some fresh air. Nonsense. Old Xing glared at her. It's true that you're sick, but you're not bedridden every day. Mu Qiqi teased him and then explained. How's Captain Tang? Much better. That's good. Mu Qiqi saw that although Tang Yen was wrapped in gauze, his mind did not seem to have any major problems. When Tang Yen saw Xing Xiao, he remembered something. He turned his head and said to old Qing, "Take Qiqi out for a minute. I have something to say to Co Sheng." Old Qing was stunned for a moment before he nodded. "Let's go, Qiqi. They're going to talk about secrets again." Mu Qiqi did not care about it in the past, so she smiled. "There's nothing to talk about with Captain Tang. I might as well talk to senior brother Qing." After saying that, the two of them reached the door and Mu Qiqi put on her hat. "Right now all of you are acting all mysterious." Mu Qiqi shrugged and did not think much of it. In the ward, Tang Yen propped himself up and looked at Xing Xiao. "Song Qiaoji should be an undercover police agent." "How do you know?" "I've thought about it from the beginning to the end, and I feel that there are many things that I can't understand. For example, she clearly caught someone, so why did she hide Shanshan upstairs? Another example is that she received Jin Bo's order to kidnap Shanshan, but she didn't tell Jin Bo where Shanshan was hiding. So, I concluded that she actually wanted to protect Shanshan. If she fell into the hands of Qing Bin and Jin Bo, it's impossible for Shanshan to still be intact." "Is there any other evidence?" Xing Xiao asked again. "When I threatened her, she warned me not to investigate Bai Sini's case anymore. She said that someone had already taken over. I'm telling you this because I think that Xing Kai's situation might not be that bad." Xing Xiao also expressed his opinion to Tang Yen. "Song Qiaoji is Jin Bo's daughter. Why would she help the police? This woman is unfathomable. I'll observe her carefully." Chapter 865. Tang Yen said this because they had almost lost their lives when Feng Shanshan was kidnapped. If something happened to Mu Qiqi, she did not know how crazy the man in front of her would be. Half an hour later, the two of them returned. Mu Qiqi could not resist the reminder of her biological clock and fell asleep in Xing Zhao's arms. When she woke up, it was already 1 in the morning, but when she turned around, there was no man beside her. Mu Qiqi got up and tiptoed to the study. She saw Xing Xiao rolling up his sleeves and fixing her damaged work. He had to work during the day and accompany her at night. This man had almost no time for himself. Mu Qiqi took a deep breath. Not wanting to disturb him, she went back to her room and lay on the bed, pretending not to see anything. The next morning, Mu Qiqi deliberately woke up early. When he went to the study and saw the little puppet that Xing Xiao had completed, he happily held it in his hand and looked for the man everywhere. However, he saw Xing Xiao putting on his shirt in the cloakroom. "When did you do it?" What Xing Xiao wanted to see was Mu Qiqi's excitement. There was a faint smile on his lips. "With magic." Mu Qiqi didn't expose him. She was so excited that she couldn't control herself. Satisfied with Mu Qiqi's happiness, Xing Xiao put on a dark double-breasted suit and a black and white tie. Mu Qiqi was a little puzzled after looking at it. "What kind of formal occasion is this?" "I'm attending the Yashang group's reception today. I'll be home late tonight. Don't wait for me." Xing Xiao took the opportunity to hug her and remind her. "Is it a nouveau riche who came back from overseas? Cultivate your character at home. Don't ruin your handicrafts." Xing Xiao did not answer her question. He just kissed the top of her head and sighed. "Be good." "How am I not obedient?" Mu Qiqi muttered. "There are many beautiful women at the banquet. Don't look too much, idiot." Xing Xiao let go of Mu Qiqi after scolding her and went down the stairs. He would definitely see Xing Kai at the reception today, and Jin Bo would definitely think of ways to humiliate the Sheng family. At noon it was drizzling. Song Qiaoji went to Changrong to pick up Xing Kai and then went to the airport to welcome Song Buji. Because of the injury on his face, Xing Kai focused on being his driver. A moment later he saw a man in a beige trench coat walk out of the airport, surrounded by a group of subordinates. Song Qiaoji immediately got out of the car to welcome him. "Brother?" Song Buji wasn't too tall. He was close to 1.8 meters, but he had a strong aura that made it difficult for people to approach him. Hearing Song Qiaoji shout, Song Buji took off his glasses and glanced at her. After confirming that it was his sister, he said to the secretary beside him, "Take care of Mississippi. I'll be leaving first." "Okay, Manager Song." The secretary answered while walking. Song Qiaoji chased after him, but she was stopped by the secretary. "Miss Co Song wants to be alone so you guys can eat lunch by yourselves. There's no need to wait for him." "Is he going to the banquet tonight?" "After seeing Sir, he will go directly. Miss, don't worry." "All right then." Song Qiaoji did not force him. She and Song Buji were not close. Therefore, after returning to the car, she heaved a sigh of relief. "Let's go home. There's no lunch." Shen Kai was a little confused. Jin Bo only has his son in his eyes, so it's normal for him to look down on me, his sister. When we meet, we just exchange pleasantries. Shen Kai nodded and did not ask any more questions. Even his own daughter could be isolated outside. What kind of person was he as his godson? Then, do you not have to attend tonight's banquet? Of course not. Zhongting is also invited tonight. Do you think my father will let go of this opportunity? He'll definitely bring you along to show off. You're his godson now. Shen Kai thought about it and felt that he could not deny it. Indeed, this was his role. It sounded nice in name, but in reality he was just a scapegoat. However, compared to my powerful brother, I believe in CEO Xing even more. Jianchuan is his territory. It's not my brother's turn to behave atrociously. Just wait for a good show tonight. You know Xing Xiao well. Shen Kai's words were unclear, but there was a hint of jealousy in them. Song Qiaoji heard it and smiled. I just believe in justice, right? I know that you were the one who did something to Gu Xiling. What exactly do you want from me? I'm useless to you. You're thinking too much. I just don't want innocent people to be sacrificed. That's why I teamed up with you. If one day I go to Jin Bo's office to steal something, at least there's someone who can cover for me. Song Qiaoji was very calm. What are you going to steal? I'm not sure. It might be a list or it might be evidence of a crime. How difficult was it to get close to Jin Bo? Shen Kai knew very well that even Xing Xiao was on guard against him. How could he rely on Song Qiaoji alone? How could he complete such a mission? I know you'll think that it's almost impossible, but opportunities always come. You're risking your life, Shen Kai said with certainty. Shen Kai said with certainty. He remembered very clearly that on the day Shin Yu died, his entire body was trembling. So, you can still stay away from me and not be dragged into a deeper hell by me. Shen Kai did not say anything. He just sped up. This woman was very strange, giving off an indescribable sense of mystery. However, she was gentle, unlike Gu Xiling, who only knew how to complain and blame. Shen Kai, do you believe it? Xing Xiao is thinking of a way to drag you out. If there's really a chance, you should run away. Run far away. Shen Kai still did not say anything because he had a premonition that his life would be closely related to this woman. Go back. I'll choose a fitting suit for you. It's a big scene tonight. On this day, Muqiqi was sitting at home. She was very upset, because she really wanted to go to the cocktail party with Xing Xiao. Because every time, this man could amaze the world in all kinds of occasions. She wanted to see the most handsome side of him. However, she could not help but worry. Xing Xiao must be hiding more and more things from her. She had originally thought that she would not pay attention to these things since she was pregnant, but when Xing Xiao really went to the banquet, she was stunned. She really did not know what her man had been doing recently. Fortunately, she still had her secretary as a spy. However, what surprised her was that Xing Xiao did not bring his secretary with him at all. Instead, he brought Su Che. The dignified President Xing actually did not bring a female companion to an event. President Xing doesn't bring a female companion because of you, madam. He doesn't want others to hold his arm. Was that so? Muqiqi could not help but smile sweetly. But madam, how are you? I've wanted to come and see you for a long time, but I was too busy. It's fine, it's fine. I just need to rest. Muqiqi quickly comforted the secretary. The secretary was really cute. Chapter 866. You're exaggerating. You should find a boyfriend. It's true. The secretary sent a sad emoji. And madam, I heard that this Yashang group reception is for the president. I wonder what he'll encounter if he goes. I really want to see him kill everyone. Come for Master Xiao? What for? Come to suffer? Master Xiao has become a father. If he keeps a low profile, he won't be Master Xiao anymore? Muqiqi was not worried about this at all. Don't worry about it. I'm sleepy. I'm going to sleep. The secretary looked at Muqiqi's message. Why did she feel that Muqiqi was not sick at all? Instead, she was enjoying herself? Then, the secretary told Xing Xiao about Muqiqi's message over the phone. Xing Xiao was already on his way to the reception. When he heard about that thing from the secretary, he could not help but feel that it was very interesting. Because of the rain, Jianchuan had already entered the night. Although it was almost summer, the drizzle also brought a chill. At that moment, guests were entering the Dynasty Hotel one after another. The local businessmen gathered in groups of 3 to 5 to discuss this menacing Song Boji. I haven't even seen him yet, but I've already heard the news in the newspapers that he's going to become the #1 in Jianchuan within a year. I've never seen such an arrogant person. Even Xing Xiao didn't boast like this back then. This is clearly aimed at Xing Xiao. I heard that the CEO of Yashang Group is also a big shot. Perhaps he really can't compete with Xing Xiao? After all, Xing Xiao has been keeping a low profile for the past 2 years. Maybe he really can't play anymore? The last time Xing Xiao kept a low profile, Zhongting wasn't even established yet. Wave after wave of discussion made the banquet extremely lively. After that, Song Buji was the first to appear. He had an imposing appearance and an extraordinary aura. Just looking at his cold face made it hard to get close to him. Although his height was passable, he was indeed a big shot. Not many people present knew what kind of person Song Buji was and what kind of personality he had. Furthermore, it was obvious that his social skills had reached the pinnacle of perfection. In just a short while he had left a good impression on the guests. Especially when he was abroad and had the experience of interacting with the royal family, this made people feel that he was unreachable. Not long after, Jin Bo brought Song Qiaoji and Xing Kai into the venue. Naturally, no one had heard of this person before, but Song Buji introduced him to outsiders. This is my father, Song Jiang. It was Jin Bo's real name, Song Jiang. Other than the people around Deputy Mayor Liang, almost no one had seen Jin Bo's activities. Therefore they thought that he had returned from abroad. However, they did not know that he had already stirred up a lot of trouble in Jianchuan. But the most surprising thing was still Xing Kai. As a member of the Sheng family, Xing Kai was actually following Song Jiang. After falling out with the Sheng family, he suddenly took over Changrong Electronics, and now he was with the Song family. What was going on? Song Qiaoji generously hugged Xing Kai's arm without any hesitation. This added a lot of gossip to Xing Kai. He has a family. Why didn't he bring Miss Gu with him? The two of them have always been rumored to be at odds. It's normal that Xing Kai doesn't want to bring her out. When Xing Kai heard this, his back stiffened. However, Song Qiaoji comforted him. There's no need to care about this. However, in the eyes of others, Song Jiang had even brought Xing Kai. Wasn't it obvious that he was trying to slap the Sheng family's face? No one knew how the insufferably arrogant Xing Xiao would feel if he saw this. The banquet was filled with toasts. Even the annual award ceremony was not as lively as this. In the luxurious hall, the music concealed the surging undercurrents. At 7:15 p.m., a black Bentley stopped at the entrance of the hotel. Then Su Che got out of the car with an umbrella and welcomed Xing Xiao. Many guests stood by the windows on the second floor. When they saw Xing Xiao appear, they thought that the climax was about to come. They were watching a good show. Raindrops occasionally fell on Xing Xiao's shoulder. Su Che gently flicked them away for him. The two of them entered the hotel together. Then they started discussing. Rumor has it that the little bride of the Sheng family is sick, and she's seriously ill. Seeing that Xing Xiao didn't even bring a female companion with him, it's probably true. I still think that CEO Sheng is much more pleasing to the eye. His height is a sore point. The women present couldn't help but discuss Xing Xiao and Song Buji's appearance. CEO Sheng's temperament is obviously superior to CEO Song's. Xing Xiao didn't have the time to care about the gossip because when he went up to the second floor, he saw Song Buji coming up to him. I've long heard of CEO Sheng's reputation. Now that I've met you today, you're indeed extraordinary. Song Buji reached out his hand, but Xing Xiao clearly had no intention of shaking it. CEO Song, you're too polite. Compared to the Song family's recent limelight, I'm inferior. Song Buji retracted his right hand. He wasn't angry. He wiped it with a handkerchief and said, Xiao Xing, you're really not polite. It's a humiliation to be polite to a talented student like Xiao Song. When Song Buji heard this, he laughed. He felt like he had met his match. However, while no one was paying attention, Song Buji leaned close to Xing Xiao and whispered, Why don't you let sister-in-law out? She's sick. Is that so? I think she's not sick. It's just that Xiao Xing hit her. Actually, Xiao Xing doesn't have to be so afraid. After all, I won't do anything to acute beauty. Xing Xiao smiled faintly and was unmoved. My wife is picky. After all, not every occasion is worth attending. But I've admired her for a long time. I heard that she's amazing with a scalpel. If there's a chance, Xiao Xing, you must let me get to know her. To the bystanders, this sentence was already a blatant provocation. If it had been anyone else, they would have flown into a rage out of humiliation. However, this man who was as steady as Mount Tai was Xing Xiao. Don't forget that he was once like Song Buji. He was cynical and deliberately provoked other people's weaknesses. So, could he not handle it? However, he calmly tidied up his sleeves and replied, Then you'll have to put in some effort because she only likes to appear in places where there are dead people. When everyone heard this, there was only one word, admiration. Basically, no one had ever succeeded in challenging CEO Sheng's ability to deal with all kinds of changes. It's really interesting to chat with CEO Sheng. Song Buozhi revealed a strong interest. He did not admit defeat. In any case, it was just a small test to see if this legendary man was really that difficult to deal with. Now, it seemed that the rumors were not lies. Chapter 867. Song Buozhi's words seemed to have ignited the flames of war once again. However, Xing Xiao was also a strong fighter. He was not afraid of such provocation at all. Is that so? Then I really have to thank the Song family for treating my second brother as a distinguished guest. After all, everyone is a saint who can be free from mistakes. There will also be times when a family member is lost, but I believe that the dark clouds will disperse one day, and second brother will come home one day. Because sooner or later the Song family will be settled again, won't they? After hearing this, Song Buozhi was slightly stunned. Then he laughed. CEO Xing, you really have a glib tongue. You won't suffer any losses. My other abilities are also not bad. You can try them another day, CEO Song. At the sight of that, the people who had been worried for Xing Xiao finally relaxed their brow. Even though Xing Xiao was already 30 years old and had a family and a career, he was still as black-bellied and difficult to deal with as before. He had thought that the Song family would have the upper hand with the Xing family's second son in their hands. However, in front of Xing Xiao, they did not have any advantages and were still at a disadvantage. I joked with CEO Xing a lot just now. Please don't take offense. You're a distinguished guest tonight. Please take a seat. From the beginning to the end, Xing Xiao was extraordinarily calm because he knew that tonight's show had not really begun. Not far away, Sheng Kai stood beside Song Jiang. The injuries on his face were especially obvious. Their gazes occasionally met, but Sheng Kai was unwilling to look into Xing Zhao's eyes. Because tonight he was meat placed on the grill. What he had to face was discussion and mockery from all directions. Calm down. Don't lose your composure, Song Qiaozhi reminded him in his ear. You're not the one being humiliated, so you naturally don't have to panic. What good will it do me if you're humiliated? I'll be by your side, Song Qiaozhi said gently. Sheng Kai was slightly surprised, but then he relaxed a little. It wasn't like he had never fought with Xing Xiao before. What happened now? He couldn't do it anymore? Song Jiang brought Sheng Kai around to greet the guests. From time to time he would talk about his beloved godson. However, everyone knew that Xing Kai was a member of the Sheng family and had fallen out with the Sheng family to the point of irreconcilable enmity. By doing this, Song Jiang was looking down on the Sheng family. A moment later, Song Buozhi introduced Song Jiang. This is my father, Song Jiang. Song Jiang looked at Xing Xiao with a smile. He always looked kind on the surface, but he probably didn't even know how many evil things he had done in secret. Xing Xiao also smiled faintly and said, We've met before, haven't we, old Mr. Song? There was a hidden meaning in Xing Zhao's words. Those who were not involved would not understand it at all. Song Jiang really liked Xing Zhao's extraordinary bearing, so he said, with a grandson like Xiao Xing, the old man of the Xing family can really spend his old age in peace. You are a VIP today. You must have a few drinks later. By the way, Xing Kai, come here and say hello to Chief Sheng. Song Jiang turned around and said to Xing Kai. Xing Kai knew that he couldn't avoid it, so he took 2 steps forward and stood beside Song Jiang. He looked at Xing Xiao with an unreadable expression in his eyes. Xiao Xing, long time no see. The old man has been talking about you a lot recently. When you're done playing, go home. Xing Xiao was uncharacteristically not sarcastic, and not hostile. He was originally the younger brother, but he spoke softly to Xing Kai like an older brother. It was precisely because of his attitude that Xing Kai had a way out. Xing Kai had thought that he was going to be burned by the flames, but Xing Zhao's rain had moistened his heart. CEO Song's family is in the education and finance business, so you can learn a lot. With a godfather to take care of you, I won't have to worry. Don't you think so, old Mr. Song? Song Jiang did not expect Xing Xiao to do this. He had been showing off outside for a long time, but he did not expect Xing Xiao to end it with a mischievous brother running away from home. Akai is very outstanding. As his godfather, I have high hopes for him. Then I'll have to trouble you, old Mr. Song. Xing Xiao acted as if he was entrusting a task to him and acted like a big family. Then he said to Xing Kai, Of course, if you want to go home, just tell me. The 2 brothers seemed to have returned to their original state. There was no hostility or fighting. However, Xing Kai knew that since he was on Song Jiang's side, he had to show his attitude and take the initiative to attack. Otherwise, when he was schemed against, he would not even have the right to speak. Therefore he sneered and said sarcastically, I still can't forget everything that happened in the Sheng family. Xiao Sheng, you've forgotten it quite quickly. There's no place for me in that family. Everyone's fate is in Chief Sheng's hands. Go home. My home is in the Song family. It was Godfather who gave me a chance to be reborn. Since the Sheng family doesn't want me, why put on an act now? So, I won't forget everything that the Sheng family has done to me. I won't dare to forget. Sheng Kai's sharp answer pushed Xing Xiao to a whole new level. Song Jiang blinked. He did not expect Sheng Kai to surprise him at such a time. Look at Xing Xiao. Could he still say a word after being criticized by his own brother? Everyone watched the atmosphere nervously. They watched the undercurrent between the two brothers. Could the Song family really be able to suppress Xing Xiao? However, Xing Xiao chuckled and maintained his demeanor as the elder. It's good that you remember it. I remember this hatred back then. With Zhongting today, if your Changrong can also advance by leaps and bounds, I think it's worth it for you to remember this hatred. Xing Xiao. Sure. Xing Xiao made a shushing gesture to remind him to stop. Old Mr. Song and CEO Song are both modest gentlemen. Since you've learned everything, why don't you learn more patience? Or could it be that you haven't improved at all after going to Changrong Electronics for a few months? Even so, I don't think the Song family treats you very well as an adopted son. Speaking of which, I also thought of something. The employees of Changrong Electronics don't seem to have good mental fortitude. If you really want to improve, I'll lend you Zhongting's team to try. The Song family started out in education and finance. How could they not help you with this? In just a few words, his words were sharp. Sheng Xiao not only brought up by Cindy's case, but also revealed the Song family's original intention of controlling Sheng Kai. Since they wanted to provoke him, they couldn't blame him for being vicious with his words. After all, he was a righteous person. Why would he be afraid of those crooked ways? Song Jiang's expression changed. He knew that Sheng Kai couldn't provoke Xing Xiao anymore. Otherwise, things might really get out of hand. Xiao Sheng, this is a huge misunderstanding. How can you two quarrel on such an occasion? We're all family. Xing Xiao lowered his head, his brows sharp. However, when he raised his head, he looked at Song Jiang. The meaning of his question was very obvious. Was he not going to play anymore? The corner of Song Jiang's mouth twitched. He finally understood how difficult Xing Xiao was to deal with. Chapter 868. Akai, accompany Qiaoji for a walk and get to know uncle. Song Jiang quickly sent the hateful Sheng Kai away. Yes, Godfather. Sheng Kai turned around and held Song Qiaoji's hand. The two of them walked out of the banquet hall to get some fresh air. Did you do it on purpose just now? Song Qiaoji leaned against the fence and asked. If I didn't do that, how would Godfather believe that I hate the Sheng family? Sheng Kai raised his head and allowed the cold wind to pour into his limbs. He can handle it anyway. Your younger brother is really a god. He can handle such a scene so easily. Song Qiaoji had seen it clearly just now. She was amazed by Xing Zhao's adaptability, eloquence, and aura. Any woman would choose him, right? Song Qiaoji was slightly stunned. She could hear the underlying meaning in his words and chuckled. Look, when you men are jealous, don't you also say things without thinking? Xing Xiao is indeed a dragon among men. He's rare, but I don't like a perfect god like him. Sheng Kai's expression was a little unnatural. After a while, he said softly, that woman once told me that she likes the strongest man. I don't have a hero complex. I just feel that every soul is extraordinary, don't you think? Song Qiaoji's smile did have the ability to heal people. Sheng Kai unconsciously fell into it, but he knew that he shouldn't have. With Sheng Zhao's capital, he should have a lot of women, but he likes a little girl. I've seen her before, Song Qiaoji said. The girl who accompanied Feng Shanshan to the prenatal checkup feels like the same kind of person as Xing Xiao. She's not someone to be trifled with. Sheng Kai let himself be drenched in the drizzle for a while to regain his senses. Then he said to Song Qiaoji, go in. Whether it's sarcasm or humiliation tonight, I'll accept it all. At the cocktail party, Xing Xiao and Song Buozhi inevitably fought with words. However, according to Xing Zhao's level, not only was Song Buozhi not tall enough, but his eloquence was also inferior. Although the guest had to follow the host's wishes, Xing Xiao had no intention of giving in at all. However, Song Buozhi was extremely competitive. The more Xing Xiao refused to give in, the more he saw Xing Xiao as his opponent. However, this situation was soon interrupted by a phone call. Xing Zhao's face softened when he saw that it was the little one's call. He was a completely different person from the fierce look he had just now. Then he said to the guest who was chatting with him, Sorry, I have to take a call. After that, he left the crowd and walked towards the hotel garden. When Song Boji saw this, he smiled with interest. It was not a good thing for a man like Xing Xiao to care so much about a woman, because people were most afraid of having a weakness, and Xing Xiao's weakness was not small. In the garden, Xing Xiao held his phone and felt a little helpless. He had already said that he would be back late tonight when he left in the morning. The party would not end until 10 o'clock. However, as soon as he picked up the call, this thing asked him, "I miss you. When are you coming back?" Xing Xiao raised his hand to look at his watch. It was only a little past 8. This thing was clearly intentional. There's still a while left. So boring to face those people. Master Xiao, your son told you to go home quickly. At least 9 o'clock. But there's thunder at home. Mom and Dad aren't back yet. I'm afraid to be alone at home. Xing Xiao was speechless. This person was not afraid of rotting corpses or exploding heads, but she was afraid of thunder? Stop fooling around. I'll try my best. With that, Xing Xiao hung up and returned to the guests. When Song Boji saw this, he walked up to Xing Xiao and smiled warmly. I knew Madam Xing wasn't sick. I was right. Co Song, do you always rely on intuition? That's not a good habit, Xing Xiao replied. Speaking of which, Sheng Kai still owes my father a cup of tea. Co Xing, you have to witness it. Xing Xiao did not pay attention to what Song Boji had said because he could vaguely hear the sound of thunder. In the afternoon, Mama Sheng had indeed said that she would go to the class reunion with Papa Sheng that night, so the little one was the only one at home. Thinking of this, Xing Xiao put down the champagne in his hand and said to Song Boji, I think it's better for you to test me next time. There's still a long way to go, isn't there? My wife isn't feeling well today, so I'll take my leave first. We'll meet often in the future, so I won't say goodbye. Is Madam Xing really sick? What does it have to do with you? With that, Xing Xiao gestured to Su Che, and the two of them walked out of the banquet hall together. When the guests saw this, they could not help but be surprised. Why is Xing Xiao leaving? Rumor has it that the little bride is seriously ill. It should have something to do with her, a guest guessed. That's true. She's his favorite. What's there to care about at the banquet? A few words of discussion followed Xing Xiao's figure and disappeared into the night. The rain tonight did not seem to have any intention of stopping. Song Jiang could not help but sigh. He had originally prepared a new program to see Xing Xiao's reaction, but in the end, he had left just like that. However, it did not matter. There was still a long way to go. However, Shen Kai's tea still had to be offered. He had to kneel down and call him godfather for it to count. It was only 8:30 in the night. Mu Chichi was alone at home, sighing. Although she was not really afraid of thunder, she could not help but feel uncomfortable when she was alone in such a big house. She had wanted to call Feng Shanshan or Lu Chanshan to relieve her boredom, but at that moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. Mu Chichi propped herself up and saw that it was her man. She immediately stood up, her eyes bright, and it was not difficult to see the joy in them. Why are you back? I don't know who called. Sheng Xiao took off his coat that was covered in the cold wind and entered the living room. Seeing that the house was empty and the thunder and lightning flashed, he reached out and hugged her. As expected, what? Instead of drinking with a group of unrelated people, I might as well go home and watch you do your handicrafts. Don't think I don't know that you're laughing at me. Mu Chichi took the opportunity to hammer Xing Xiao's chest. Xing Xiao hugged her and sat down, letting her lean against his chest. In front of the two of them was the new handicraft that Mu Chichi had just unwrapped. She had not had the time to start. Did you see Xing Kai? Yes. Xing Xiao hummed faintly. Did you quarrel? There's nothing to say. Xing Xiao did not want to bring those troublesome things home, nor did he want her to worry about him. Chapter 869. Mu Chichi knew what he was thinking, so she did not ask further. With a call from her, he came back in the rain. What else did he want? Other bosses prioritize making money more important than anything else. They won't miss any opportunity to build a relationship. My boss is the opposite. Who asked you to be sick? Xing Xiao curled his lips. This excuse could probably be used for months. Since you're back, accompany me to do handicrafts. Mu Chichi took apart the parts and placed them in front of Xing Xiao. I can help with the cutting. You can do the rest. Then you don't have to do it. Xing Xiao wrapped his arms around her and rested his chin on her shoulder. It was indeed much better to be intimate and warm than to be with those old things. Mu Chichi willingly nestled in Xing Xiao's arms. At this moment, even if lightning flashed and thunder rumbled outside, she did not feel afraid or lonely at all. This was because this embrace was the warmest and safest embrace in the world. Therefore at 10 o'clock in the evening, when Mama Sheng and Xing Xiao opened the door and returned home, they saw such a warm scene. The old couple also consciously did not want to be their son and daughter-in-law's third wheel. After taking off their shoes and entering the door, they did not make any noise at all. They quietly walked through the living room and returned to their room. When had Xing Xiao ever been so childish? He could only see it when he was with Xiao Qi. She had raised her son all these years, but she had never seen Xing Xiao like this, except in front of Mu Qiqi. What a spectacle. You've made a fool of yourself in front of Mom and Dad. Mu Qiqi leaned her elbow against Xing Xiao's chest. Then I'll go back to my room? With that, Xing Xiao was about to get up, but Mu Qiqi stopped him. Sit down, you bad guy. You only know how to test me. At least finish this. On the other side, the Yashang group reception had already ended. Because Xing Xiao was not present in the second half, even if Xing Kai saluted Song Jiang and offered tea, he would not feel too embarrassed. Perhaps this was another deeper meaning behind Xing Xiao's excuse to leave. Then the group left the hotel. Xing Kai sent Song Jiang to the car, but Song Jiang stopped him. You're tired today. Go back and rest. Let Xiaoji accompany you. Xing Kai glanced at Song Xiaoji beside him and did not say anything. Then he closed the car door for Song Jiang. Godfather, take care. Behind Song Jiang, Song Buoji drove a blue Maybach. However, when he looked at Xing Kai and Song Xiaoji, there was a hint of unusual interest in the corners of his mouth. He felt that these two were both actors. However, there was still a lot of time, so he should take his time to play, so he didn't mind. Today, when he returned to China, he brought back a new product from abroad. He hadn't played with it yet. Tomorrow he would try it out. The better Xing Xiao protected her, the more he wanted to invade Xing Xiao's territory. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel happy. Song Buoji smiled and followed behind Song Jiang's car. Seeing that her father and brother had left, Song Qiaoji turned to Xing Kai and said, It's over. I'll send you back. I don't want to go back yet. Xing Kai shook his head. I know that Song Jiang humiliated you like that in your heart. Whenever he thought of this, Xing Kai would think of his hatred for the Gu family and Gu Xiling. Seeing his cold expression, Song Qiaoji knew that he was in a bad mood, so she suggested, Then, let's go out for a drink. I want to be alone. Don't stay alone. You'll get sick. After saying that, Song Qiaoji pushed Xing Kai into the black car. My brother suffered a lot in front of Xing Xiao tonight. When he goes back, he'll definitely think of a way to get back at him. He's a very vengeful person, so try not to offend him. Even I won't be able to get any benefits from him. Now, can you tell me the reason why Jin Bo hid his identity? As Song Qiaoji drove, she observed Xing Kai's expression. Finally, she said softly, I'm afraid the Sheng family already knows the reason in advance. After saying this, Song Qiaoji continued, Actually, this matter has nothing to do with the Sheng family. The Song family's real enemy is the Shin family. It started 25 years ago. Because of a mission from Old Master Shin, 4 of the 5 members of the Song family were killed. The only one left was my father. He had been preparing a revenge plan for more than 20 years. It's only because Xing Xiao became Zhongting and supported the current mayor that my father listed him as his #1 enemy. You, on the other hand, are purely a pawn that Gu Ziling's grandfather offered to please my father. My father wanted to use you to take revenge on the Xing family and kept you as the last scapegoat. You know all of this. After Xing Kai heard this, he felt his mind was in a mess. After a moment of silence, he finally figured out the reason. Gu Ziling's grandfather is also your father's lackey? Her grandfather isn't a good person either. His business is a mess. My father only helped him because he wanted to open up the market in Jianchuan. So who should I blame? Xing Kai didn't understand either. He only sneered, feeling that he was too naive. Next, my father and brother will definitely have more plans. This also means that I will have many opportunities to get close to the evidence of their crimes. Xing Kai, do you want to be safe or do you want to help me? Xing Kai was stunned by Song Qiaoji's sudden question. He couldn't say anything for a long time. If you stay like this, my father and brother won't deal with you now. They'll leave you until the end. But if you take the risk with me, your body might be found in the mountains in a few days. You'll die the same way as those girls in Changrong Electronics. Even the murderer won't be found, and the police won't dare to investigate further. Song Qiaoji's words were indeed enough to test Xing Kai. But for some reason he didn't want to be someone who would sit back and wait for death. It took him 2 seconds to make such a decision. Xing Kai felt that he was probably crazy. What are you going to use to bribe me? Hearing this, Song Qiaoji stopped the car at the side. Then she suddenly leaned over and kissed Shen Kai's lips. Beauty? Is that enough? Shen Kai had been in a daze for a long time because his rationality was reminding him that Song Qiaoji was definitely not as simple as he thought. He shouldn't believe anything she said. However, his emotions told him that this woman cared about him and was willing to stand with him. If he missed it just like that, perhaps there wouldn't be a next time. Don't be in a hurry to answer me. You still have a lot of time to think about it. Shen Kai turned his head and forced himself to calm down. Wasn't Gu Xiling in front of him enough? Chapter 870. When the news came out the next day, Muqiqi saw it. Knowing that her man had not suffered a loss, she was relieved. However, when she finally saw the true face of the murderer behind Baisini's case, a chill rose in Muqiqi's eyes. What's so good about the newspaper? Anyway, the Song family is being suppressed by Sir. Young madam, come and have some soup. Hearing Fifth Aunt's shout, Muqiqi snorted. It's said that one's appearance is born from the heart. With this family's appearance, it's obvious that they've done all sorts of bad things. You're so capable that you even know how to read people's faces? Xing Xiao said as he walked down from the second floor. People have an aura. I'm not personally attacking that Song guy. Look at you. With your wise and heroic temperament, you can shake the world wherever you go. I'll take that as a compliment. A science student like her really couldn't be expected to speak eloquently. Muqiqi burst out laughing. Since the Song family has declared war, I wonder what their next step is? Xing Xiao sat down beside Muqiqi and reached out to take the coffee from Fifth Aunt. However, he did not say anything. Last night, Song Buji's mouth couldn't leave two people. One was Xing Kai, who was in Song Buji's hands, and the other was Muqiqi, who he had hidden at home. Presumably, in the future, Song Buji would also come looking for trouble with these two people. If Song Jiang wanted to act in secret, Song Buji would definitely not let him have it easy. Muqiqi saw that her man did not say anything, so she did not ask any more. Don't worry, I'll stay at home obediently. I won't go anywhere. Xing Xiao actually did not want to be so harsh. In such a big place like Jianchuan, people had to give him some face. Sometimes he would think that if Muqiqi was in danger, he would do whatever it took, even if he had to use his life to protect the little thing's safety. However, he did not want her to suffer even the slightest bit. Especially when he thought about how Feng Shanshan had almost been sold, he could not stand it at all. Go to work. Today, Fifth Aunt and I are going to vacate the cloakroom for our baby's crib. Don't move heavy things, Xing Xiao instructed. I know what to do. Don't worry. Muqiqi finished the soup and went to unpack the crib. Xing Xiao shook his head helplessly. He gave Fifth Aunt a few more instructions before leaving. However, no one noticed that there was a small drone outside the 300-square-meter villa. It was being controlled by someone and was spying on everything here. Last night, Song Buji said that he had just bought a useful thing and today was the perfect day to test its performance. At the Yashang group reception, Xing Xiao did not give the Song family any face. Song Buji remembered this grudge in his heart. Moreover, he had always guessed that Xing Xiao had hidden Muqiqi. If he really did not have any fear of the Song family, why would he hide a living person? Muqiqi was seriously ill? Only a ghost would believe that. In the afternoon, the Song family. Song Jiang had just returned from a social engagement when he saw that Song Buji did not go to the company. Instead, he came back with a gadget. His expression turned cold and he was a little disappointed. Since you're back, can't you help your father? Of course I'm helping you. Song Buji raised the drone in his hand and said, this thing is made in Germany. It doesn't make any noise. It's a high-tech thing. Guess what it captured? Buji, you're so old-fashioned. You only know how to eat with Deputy City Mayor Liang and the others all day. I don't blame you. Muqiqi is pregnant, so Xing Xiao hid her. It's no wonder. Your subordinate, Qing Bin, caused a ruckus among the police, so it's understandable for him to do this. After hearing this, Song Jiang's expression returned to normal. What do you mean? A woman giving birth is a matter of life and death. If you want to deal with Xing Xiao, you can make good use of these 10 months. So, Dad, you do your own thing in private. Leave the matter of dealing with Xing Xiao to me. I'll make him flustered and unable to spare his hands. Song Jiang nodded and solemnly instructed him. Right now, the Shin family has a good political record. There's a high chance that he'll be re-elected. If Xing Xiao continues to be a stumbling block in the middle, your father's decades of hard work will be in vain. Bring your sister along when you have time. The corners of Song Buji's mouth curled up meaningfully. Which sister of mine? The one who wants her to watch Xing Kai? Dad, it's not that I'm pouring cold water on you, but these two people will definitely cause you a lot of trouble in the end. That's none of your business. Song Buji shrugged. He didn't plan to care. His hobby was to cause trouble for Xing Xiao. Mu Qiqi's pregnancy was a great thing. What was there to hide? Why don't he publicize the news for Xing Xiao? It was time for President Sheng to get busy. Then he handed the photos taken by the drone to his assistant. Since he was already setting up the crib, he would let the entire Jianchuan be happy for President Sheng. Therefore, an hour later, the news of Mu Qiqi's pregnancy was posted on the internet, along with photos. The little bride of the Sheng family was not even 22 years old this year. Although she and Xing Xiao had registered their marriage abroad, the domestic law did not recognize it. Therefore, no matter how good their relationship was, Mu Qiqi was still labeled with the ugly words of premarital pregnancy. So she's not sick at all. To think that I felt sorry for her. I didn't expect her to have the president's child. She dares to have a child before she's married. As expected of the little bride of the Sheng family. She's the same person who seduced a man at the age of 17. Although there was no photo of Mu Qiqi's pregnant belly in the photo, wasn't it obvious enough from the time she dropped out of school to setting up the crib at home? In an instant, the news of Mu Qiqi's pregnancy caused 1,000 waves. There was envy, jealousy, sarcasm, and ridicule. President, should we get the media to block the news? Su Che stood in front of Xing Xiao and asked. If young madam sees this, it will affect her mood. There's no need, Xing Xiao replied lightly. We can't hide it from that thing. Then are we just going to let it go? It was obvious who had done it. It was only the second day after returning to the country, and they already knew that they were going to make a move. It seemed like they adapted very quickly. I originally wanted to spend the next 10 months quietly and let Cheer give birth to the baby in a low-key manner. It seems like the Song family is here to disrupt my plan and make me busy. The people outside are scolding young madam so badly. If you think that these things will make that little thing unable to eat, then you're gravely mistaken. She doesn't care at all. Therefore, Xing Xiao felt that there was no need to take this matter to heart. If the Song family thought that this could deal a blow to Mu Qiqi's young heart, then let them think so. Chapter 871. When Mu Qiqi heard the news, she had just woken up from her afternoon nap. Seeing Fifth Aunt's ugly expression, he guessed that something had happened. Therefore she didn't need to ask. She just needed to take out her phone and take a look. In this information age, there was nothing that she couldn't know. He took out his phone and went online to check. It didn't take much effort. He could see the news about himself at a glance. It was as exciting as it could be. Fifth Aunt was afraid that her mood would be affected by the comments on the internet, so she quickly sat beside her and comforted her. Don't care about those comments. Anyway, as long as you have Sir's love, it's fine. These people are just saying it. It's no big deal. Mu Qiqi threw the phone away nonchalantly. It was just as Xing Xiao said. In this world, no one knew her better than Xing Xiao. Looks like you're not angry? I'm angry. Mu Qiqi said angrily, if I had known that someone was taking pictures of me, I would have dressed better. I'm so ugly now. Fifth Aunt was speechless. Although she was used to being careless, if it were any other girl, she would have long wanted to find a place to hide, or rather find a country where no one knew her and hide. A girl's reputation was very important. Aunt Wu, I'm hungry. Is there any chicken soup left in the morning? It's delicious. Fifth Aunt smiled silently and quickly got up to get the chicken soup for her. Mu Qiqi sighed. She suddenly felt that the paparazzi nowadays were too dedicated. That was when Xing Xiao called. Master Xiao, are you a divine diviner? I just woke up. Recently you've been sleeping until around 3 o'clock. That's why I called at this time. You've seen the news, haven't you? Xing Xiao stood in front of the French window in his office and called Mu Qiqi. I saw it. Mu Qiqi pouted. Which paparazzi took this secretly? The paparazzi can't get in. It might be a drone, Xing Xiao replied. Stinky thing, I'm asking about your mood. What's wrong with that? From the day I fell in love with you when I was 17, I already knew that I was being rebellious. Do I still need others to tell me? Mu Qiqi snorted. What? Are you envious that I can have a child at the age of 21, or that I have a husband like you? If they have the ability, they can give birth too. I knew it. The corners of Xing Zhao's lips curled up slightly. If Song Buji wanted to use these things to hurt Mu Qiqi and the Shin family, it would not be enough to keep him busy. Alright, I really didn't take it to heart. You can continue with your work. I want to continue my handicraft business. Don't use a knife, Xing Xiao reminded her. I know. Old men are so long-winded. With that, Mu Chichi quickly hung up. Xing Xiao had the urge to strangle the thing when he heard that it was an old man. On the other side, Fifth Aunt brought the chicken soup and placed it in front of Mu Chichi. She was also smiling. Mr. Xing loves you. He likes to worry about nothing. When I met him he was 26 years old. Fifth Aunt, you haven't seen his cynical tone. If he was unhappy he would grab someone and hang them on the opposite mountain for a few days. Every day he made old Master Xing so angry that he was foaming at the mouth. Now that he's old, he's no longer energetic. When Fifth Aunt heard this, she laughed so hard that she couldn't straighten her back. That's because he's mature and has a sense of family responsibility. This is a good thing. Sigh, I'm just old. In any case, the outside world was in an uproar because of Mu Chichi's pregnancy. However, she herself was very calm. In any case, whether others knew or not did not affect her. In any case, she just did not go out and anger the Song family. However, the Shen and Xing families might inevitably be criticized by others. This was also a taboo for Xing Xiao. Therefore, in the evening, Xing Xiao planned to go to the Shen family first to know their attitude. Just as the news of Mu Chichi's pregnancy was flying around, Song Qiaoji was dragged away for questioning by the police. Song Qiaoji was pulled in for questioning by the police because she seemed to be involved in Feng Shanshan's kidnapping. However, Song Qiaoji seemed to have already thought of an excuse. She called her a middle-aged woman because she had hired a housekeeper to clean her house. Who knew that after she took Feng Shanshan away that day, she would be schemed against by this woman. Later, Feng Shanshan was locked up in the upstairs house by this swindler. Because both houses belonged to her, she gave the woman a spare key. The police then went to verify Song Qiaoji's story. Song Jiang also spent money to put pressure on her, so Song Qiaoji was fine for the time being, waiting for the police to further investigate. When she came out of the police station, Xing Kai's car was parked outside. When Song Qiaoji saw him, she was a little surprised. Why are you here? I'm taking you out for dinner, Xing Kai said as he opened the car door. Come in. Have you thought about what I said last night? Song Qiaoji asked for Xing Kai's answer the moment she opened her mouth. Didn't you say that I have time to think about it slowly? You might have to be prepared. It's a little long for me to think about it, Xing Kai replied. Then he drove away from the police station with Song Qiaoji. Mu Chichi is pregnant. I believe you've seen the news. Halfway through, Song Qiaoji suddenly said to Xing Kai, so, it's very likely that my brother will use Mu Chichi's pregnancy to attack Xing Xiao. I don't want to pay attention to their matters now. I just want to have a quiet meal, Xing Kai replied. It can also be considered a celebration for me to finally get my divorce certificate and be single again. Xing Kai, actually, you can tell me your true identity and true purpose. After all, whether you're Song Jiang's daughter or a spy, to me you're the only one by my side now. Xing Kai suddenly tilted his head and looked at Song Qiaoji seriously. You don't believe what I said before? It's not that I don't believe you, but I'm skeptical. Actually, after I calm down, I'll find that there are many flaws in your words. For example, you told me that you're a police spy not long after you met me. If this is true, then you should have died thousands of times. Your father is such a suspicious person. You said that you came to avenge your mother and even received training. However, I feel that when Song Jiang recognizes you, he will definitely investigate you thoroughly. Actually, Song Qiaoji, what's there to lie to me about? Song Qiaoji was a little nervous. She even clenched her hands tightly. Then why do you think I lied to you? Let's not talk about this tonight. We'll talk about it later. What do you want to eat? Unexpectedly, Xing Kai suddenly changed the topic. After experiencing Gu Xiling and wandering between the line of life and death, do you think I'll still be so gullible? If you don't know what to eat, I'll take you to my usual place. Chapter 872. In the evening, Xing Xiao returned home from Zhongting and went to the Shen residence. Seeing that Grandpa Shen was fishing at the pond, she followed him and sat down beside him. I haven't fished with you for many years. Old Master Shen tilted his head and saw that it was eighth brother. He snorted softly. You know that I'll be angry. It's normal for you to be angry. Eighth brother, I won't blame you for letting Chi-Chi become a mother at the age of 21. After all, it was Chi-Chi's own will. But I'm distressed that you didn't take care of her reputation. I'm old and I don't care about it. But Xiao-Qi still has a long way to go. How will others look at her in the future if she bears the stigma of being pregnant before marriage? You know Xiao-Qi doesn't care, so why are you blaming eighth brother? Behind the two of them, Shen Jianchuan suddenly said, Dad, this is the Song family's doing. Speaking of which, we've implicated Xiao-Qi. After hearing his son's words, Grandpa Shin did not say a word. It's already good enough that eighth brother is putting on airs for you. Don't be too harsh on him. You've already said it. What else do I have to care about? Old Master Shin snorted. 25 years ago, the Song family was not a good person. 25 years later, they've raised a nest of little bastards. If you want to blame someone, blame me for not getting rid of them back then. It was my negligence that allowed the Song family to take advantage of the loophole, Xing Xiao answered the two of them. However, this should only be the beginning. What are your plans now? Xing Xiao stared at Xin Jianchuan and did not say anything. The battle with the Song family was probably not something that could be resolved in a short period of time. Therefore, there was no need to mobilize so many people for such a small matter. Don't worry, grandfather. I'll make arrangements for Qi. That's why I'm here. After Xin Jianchuan heard that, he patted Xing Zhao's chest. I know that you want to know what the other members of the Xin family think. On this issue, the Xin family has always been against outsiders. It's not Chi-Chi's fault. Your grandfather and I don't care about our reputation that much. Thanks, Dad. You don't have to carry all these things on your shoulders. Don't you think you're under enough pressure? Go back and tell Chi-Chi to rest in peace. With that, Xing Xiao naturally went home on time. This man had never been afraid of anything. But he cared about Mu Chi-Chi's feelings and considered all her concerns. The reason why he went to the Xin family first was that he wanted to be confident when he comforted that thing. When he entered the door, Mu Chi-Chi was reading a nutrition book. Xing Xiao put down his coat and stared at it. The book is upside down. Can you understand it? Mu Chi-Chi pretended to be serious and failed. She got up from the sofa. I was afraid that you would think too much, so I played along with you. I just went to the Xin family. Grandpa and Dad didn't mind. You don't have to worry about them feeling embarrassed. I'm not worried at all. It's not like they've known me for a day or two. They're already used to my deviant ways. It's just that this Song guy is making fun of me on the second day. Not bad. Don't worry. I'll return him a big gift in 2 days. Xing Xiao carried her upstairs and placed her on the chaise lounge beside the desk. Su Che has already gone to deal with it. The matter will be suppressed tomorrow. I thank his ancestors for telling the world about this on my behalf. Looking at Mu Chi-Chi's expression, Xing Xiao waved at her. Come here. What are you doing? Mu Chi-Chi got up and walked to Xing Xiao before sitting on his lap. Xing Xiao put his hand into Mu Chi-Chi's shirt and gently caressed her lower abdomen. Say hello to the one in your stomach? He's only a little big now. Mu Chi-Chi hugged Xing Xiao's neck and lowered her head. Badian, grow up quickly and come out of my stomach as soon as possible. Xing Xiao frowned slightly. He felt that if a son were to come out and find out that he had such a name, he would probably want to return to his mother's womb and change his gender. As Mu Chi-Chi spoke, she also moved around on Xing Xiao's lap. Unexpectedly, a moment later, Mu Chi-Chi noticed that something was wrong. Master Xiao, you can't be. You're such a beast. I'm already pregnant. Xing Xiao did not think much of it. He just held her down and did not let her move around. Sometimes, I can even react when I think of your name. What's more, you're sitting in my arms, huh? Mu Chi-Chi's face instantly turned red. Do you like me that much? What do you think? Such a low and seductive voice made Mu Chi-Chi feel that her bones were going soft. Wait for me for 3 months. Oh, will, idiot. Such a big thing had happened to Mu Chi-Chi, but the Sheng family and the Xin family did not react. They did not clarify or say anything. The two families acted as if nothing had happened. They allowed the people of Jianchuan to mock them without getting angry. Song Buozhi thought about it and realized that it made sense. Xing Xiao and Mu Chi-Chi were not ordinary people. They could be together at the age of 17. Of course, they did not care about etiquette, justice, or shame. Of course, he did not have any benefits in exposing this matter. He was just stepping on Xing Xiao's bottom line. At the same time, he could take revenge for last night. Xing Xiao wanted to hide Mu Chi-Chi, but he would not let him. Today, he had only exposed the news of Mu Chi-Chi's pregnancy. Next, he wanted to lure Mu Chi-Chi out. Staying at home all the time was harmful to pregnant women's health, wasn't it? However, Xing Xiao's precautions were, of course, flawless. If he came into contact with Mu Chi-Chi just like that, of course he would not have any connections. The drone could only enter once. Therefore he had his eyes on a very easy target to approach. Lu Qianshan. Mu Chi-Chi only had 2 best friends. Feng Shanshan had a police officer by her side, so she was not to be trifled with. Lu Qianshan only had a boyfriend who was often at school. In addition, Papa Lu had already passed away. How tiring would it be for a little girl to guard the Lu Corporation? He should go and help. On the second day after Mu Qiqi's pregnancy was exposed, people thought that Xing Xiao would not make a move and allow the matter to ferment. However, the next day the boss of the website that first exposed Mu Qiqi's pregnancy went abroad overnight. This was a popular cultural forum. It was shut down in the morning and completely offline at noon. At night it turned cold, according to Su Che's words. If you want to expose it, go ahead. We won't suppress the news. We'll only suppress your boss. If the media is unconvinced, feel free to provoke us. I'll take my time. I'll greet them one by one. No one knew what Xing Xiao's family background was, but some people wanted to waste time with him. They felt that Xing Xiao was too much of a bully. Chapter 873. After this, all the major media outlets quickly went offline. There were some people who could not be touched in Jianchuan. It didn't seem like anything would happen even if you did. In any case, Xing Xiao wouldn't embarrass you in front of you, but you wouldn't know what he wanted to do behind your back. It seemed that as long as it was related to Mu Qiqi, he would never be lazy. He was very patient. Even if you were just a small shop, you would still be punished. Song Buji looked at Xing Xiao's way of dealing with the problem. He didn't expect it to be so exciting. It was just a day and a night. Although there were people talking about it, there was no more news about Mu Qiqi's pregnancy in the mainstream media. The onlookers were just joining in on the fun. Since there was no more news, they naturally chose to pay attention to other news. They had scolded and criticized her. At the end of the day, Mu Qiqi's pregnancy had nothing to do with them. In fact, Mu Qiqi was not completely calm amidst the scolding. For example, one of them said, "In the past, when I saw Mu Qiqi, I thought that she was a sensible person who knew what she wanted. She was born in a rich family, but she was willing to work as a forensic doctor. But now, seeing that she gave birth to a child for a man at the age of 21, I suddenly feel that she's just an ordinary girl. She's probably forgotten all her dreams." In other words, just because she had a child, she could delay her dreams? Giving birth was only a year away. She could go back to school and start all over again. The reason why these people looked down on her so much was because they didn't understand her feelings for Xing Xiao. They also didn't know how worthy Xing Xiao was. Of course, she wouldn't really remember these speculations. Why should she impose her own thoughts on others? Things were like a hurricane. They came and went quickly and they soon calmed down. However, everyone's state changed from not knowing that Mu Qiqi was pregnant to knowing that she was pregnant. Mu Qiqi had always thought that the Song family had already regarded her as a target and would think of all kinds of ways to deal with her. This was just the beginning. She didn't expect that the Song family wouldn't make any moves for a few days. Did they give up so quickly? Of course, Xing Xiao had said that he would return Song Buji with a big gift. There should be some progress in the next 2 days. Although Song Buji didn't seem to be moving, he was actually studying how to get close to Lu Qianqian without being noticed by the Xing family. If he really got involved with Lu Qianqian, wouldn't it be a huge blow to Mu Qiqi? After the two of them ate that day, Sheng Kai sent Song Qiaoji back to his residence. After the two of them exposed the lie, Song Qiaoji could say very little to Sheng Kai. Perhaps she did not have the time to respond to his provocation. She had to admit that she was not a spy. She was acting and talking like this to win people's trust. Otherwise, Song Jiang would not have kept her alive until now. No one knew her depth. Even she herself sometimes felt as if she was wearing 2 masks. She wasn't a cop, but she really wanted revenge. But it wasn't because of her mother, because she didn't even know who her mother was. She wanted to use Sheng Kai, but unfortunately Sheng Kai saw through her. The two of them hadn't seen each other for a few days. Finally, when Sheng Kai was about to change his dressing, Song Qiaoji appeared in front of him with a medical kit. The two of them looked at each other awkwardly and smiled. "I thought you were scared by me. I haven't waited for your answer yet." After saying this, Song Qiaoji walked past Sheng Kai and sat on his sofa. "Come over and change your dressing. If you don't tell me your real purpose, I don't think I'll agree," Sheng Kai replied. "I don't want my life to be filled with lies anymore." Song Qiaoji took out a pair of scissors and a brand new gauze. As she cleaned Sheng Kai's new wound, she sighed. "I'm indeed not a spy, but I'm indeed the daughter of the Song family. What I want to avenge is not the murder of my mother, but the murder of my husband. When Song Jiang found me, I was already engaged and living a happy life. However, Song Jiang used my fiancé to do things for him. He squeezed out all his value and then kicked him away. In the end, my fiancé couldn't bear the burden and committed suicide by jumping into the sea. He took me in and did dirty things for him. Of course, he didn't believe me, so Feng Shanshan's kidnapping was the most disgusting thing he made me do. Shen Kai tilted his head to look at her and could see the obvious emotions in her eyes. This time it was true. She wasn't lying. It took me a year to get out of that shadow. I relied on sending Song Jiang to prison. Does Song Jiang know about you pretending to be an undercover? He knows. Otherwise, do you think he would have tolerated me? I pretended to be an undercover police officer and did something for him. That's why he didn't ask so much, Song Qiaoji answered. Every day I live, I'm disgusted by my identity in Song Jiang. Even if you don't believe me this time, I'm telling the truth. I believe you. Shen Kai slowly put on his shirt when he saw that the bandage was done. He's far more perverted and disgusting than you think. You're now the CEO of Changrong Electronics. Haven't you noticed that the HR manager is very strange when recruiting people? Of course, Shen Kai had noticed it. However, after taking over, he didn't have the mood to deal with Baisini's case. They're all young women between the ages of 22 and 26? Song Jiang has a secret clubhouse in a hotel in J City. He specially invites his friends to drink. I learned all of this from my fiancé. Before he died, he told me not to investigate further. But I know that from there, I can send Song Jiang directly to hell. After Shen Kai heard this, he felt very complicated. Changrong Electronics had died. 4 people had died one after another, and there was one more outside. These fresh human lives were so easily judged as suicides. But how can it be so easy to get close to Song Jiang's dirty deeds? I've been wandering around for the past few years. I can't get in. Shen Kai, when I saw you, I just felt that we were in the same boat. I didn't mean to hurt you, really. After Shen Kai heard this, he held Song Qiaoji's hand. Compared to this, I'm more afraid of lies. Song Qiaoji was stunned. In the past, I lost my way for power and money, but now that I think about it, I can only take advantage of my family. I'm useless and childish. I never thought that one day I would be in such a dangerous situation. The people around me could lose their lives at any time. I'm not as brave as you think, and I've done a lot of wrong things. When danger comes, I don't know if I'll leave you alone. But if you're willing to believe me, maybe I can muster up the courage to take the risk. Chapter 874. I don't know how many years I've been competing with Eighth Brother, with Grandpa, and with my own face. In the future, I won't care about these things anymore. I just want to live as I please. After Shen Kai said this, he felt that he was extremely childish. So, in Xing Zhao's eyes, it should be the same, right? That's right. Only by casting aside the superficial nothingness can one live freely. After saying this, Song Qiaoji walked to Shen Kai's wine cabinet and took out a bottle of red wine and a goblet. I think this moment is worth celebrating. The two of them sat on the sofa and drank. Unknowingly, the atmosphere became a little awkward and a little ambiguous. Shen Kai put down his wine glass and looked at Song Qiaoji, whose cheeks were flushed red. Then, do you still love your fiancé? It's been so long, what's there to love? I'm sorry. Song Qiaoji lowered her head and replied, every time I think of his cold corpse, there's a sense of hatred in my heart that drives me to seek revenge on Song Jiang. It's all in the past. Shen Kai held her hand and said, it's getting late. Go back and rest early. Song Qiaoji shook her head and lay on the sofa. I'll stay here with you. In that aspect, I'm a beast in human clothing, Shen Kai said bluntly. Song Qiaoji used the alcohol to straddle Shen Kai's body. She hooked his chin and said tipsily, it just so happens that I'm an authoritative doctor in this field. Don't you want something to happen in such an atmosphere? If he didn't want to, would he still be a man? However, Shen Kai couldn't tell what kind of feelings he had for Song Qiaoji. He just felt that it wasn't a bad feeling. In a daze, he would also realize that he was a moth, clearly aware that there was a bright flame in front of him, yet he still rushed forward without any regard for his own safety. The next morning, Shen Kai woke up on the sofa with Song Qiaoji lying beside him. The two of them faced each other honestly. It was obvious that no matter what should or should not have happened, it had already happened last night. It was precisely because she was an expert in this area that Song Qiaoji was more open about such matters. She was not like Gu Xiling, who waited for a man to please her. This surprised Shen Kai. Then the doorbell rang. Shen Kai carried Song Qiaoji to the bed and covered her body with a thin blanket. However, Shen Kai did not expect the person to be Song Jiang. Last night, he even slept with someone else's daughter. Godfather. When Song Jiang saw him, he knew what had happened last night. Is Xiao Qiao here? Shen Kai was stunned for a second and nodded. She's still sleeping. Then let her sleep. We're both men. I can understand. Godfather came here today because he has an errand for you to do. However, you and Xiaoji are like glue. I'm afraid you won't be able to separate. Just tell me, Godfather, Shinkai said readily. There are a few friends in J City that I need you to help me take care of. Can you help me take care of them? Of course I can. Shinkai nodded in reply. However, his heart turned cold because Song Jiang was going to drag him down completely. They knew very well what was in J City. Then pack up and leave at noon. Xiaoji can't go. I still have other things to tell her. Song Jiang instructed. In fact, he wanted to hold Song Xiaoji in his hands and prevent her from playing any tricks. All right. Since it's still early, I won't disturb the two of you. After Song Jiang finished speaking, he left Shinkai's apartment. Behind the door, Song Xiaoji had already heard the conversation between the two of them. Once Song Jiang left, she walked out. He asked you to contact the people in J City. If anything happens, you'll be the first one to be in trouble. Both of their expressions were ugly, but Shinkai smiled. You have to pay the price for sleeping with his daughter, don't you? Shinkai. I'll only be gone for 3 days. I'll be fine. If I find anything, I'll contact you. Song Xiaoji did not say anything. She just walked up to Shinkai and reached out to hug him. You have to live. Shinkai was speechless. He just carried Song Xiaoji horizontally and returned to the bedroom. This trip was like a bottomless abyss. In the afternoon, Zhongting. Su Che had already made all the arrangements. Then he asked for Xing Zhao's opinion. You can return the favor now. Are we going to make a move? Go back. Xing Zhao only said 2 words. Of course, he did not know that his operation this time would unconsciously save Shinkai from a dangerous journey. After preparing for a few days, a hotel in J City finally made a move. Because someone had reported that the hotel was involved in illegal activities and had attached evidence, the police were now keeping an eye on a certain hotel. This happened while Shinkai was packing his things. Song Jiang suddenly called. Akai, you don't have to go for the time being. There's a small situation over there. Before Shinkai could figure out the whole story, Song Jiang hung up the phone. Xing Xiao had used Mama Bai's death. She was a pimp when she was alive, and the people she handled had a lot of contact with Su Hong. Someone had reported that a certain hotel provided illegal services and provided the small cards found in the hotel. Moreover, the information had been posted everywhere. It was not easy for the higher-ups to suppress it, so they had to come over to go through the procedures. These were all small matters, but small matters delayed Song Jiang's important matters. Song Jiang had a party on Saturday, and now that he was being watched by the police at all times, how would those timid people dare to come to the party? However, it had not been easy for him to get together. Now, no matter what, it was going to be ruined. Who was the one behind the report? Is he tired of living? It was rare for Song Jiang to lose his temper, but for a while he did not link it to Xing Xiao. After all, Jianchuan was hundreds of kilometers away from J City. However, Song Buji firmly believed that this matter definitely had something to do with Xing Xiao. Dad, we should have changed places a long time ago. I know. Song Jiang nodded. Let me find the person behind this. I'll definitely make him pay the price. I'm afraid you won't have the chance because you can't touch that person now. Song Buji smiled. Think about it. Other than him, who else could spoil your plans? Weren't you thinking of ways to keep him busy? Now you're busy with me? He's taking revenge. He's taking revenge on me for exposing Mu Chichi's pregnancy, Song Buji guessed. Dad, you're not careful enough and let the people around Xing Xiao take advantage of you. I'll be more careful in the future. After Song Jiang said that, he returned to his room. He thought about how much money he had spent to invite those people to a gathering, but now it was all ruined. Of course, because he did not tell Shinkai about these things beforehand, he did not think that Shinkai had leaked the information. This matter would not have succeeded without a few days of planning, and it was impossible for Shinkai to predict the future. Chapter 875. If it wasn't troublesome, wouldn't he be at his mercy? Xing Xiao was never a man to be trifled with. Hu and Jianchuan didn't know that. It was precisely because he knew that Xing Xiao wasn't easy to deal with that Song Buji knew that he had to start with his heart. But Mu Chichi didn't go out? It didn't matter. He had already put down the hook and was waiting for the fish to take the bait. If he wanted to get in touch with Lu Chanqian, of course he had to start with the Lu Corporation. However, this little girl in her early 20s had managed the Lu Corporation so well. It seemed that she hadn't experienced much. Since he wanted to have a relationship with Lu Chanqian, he had to create trouble for her and then help her solve the problem. Her little boyfriend probably wouldn't show up every time to shield her from the wind and rain, right? Sooner or later the two of them would have to separate. Thinking about it, after he succeeded with Lu Qianqian, she would bring him to visit Mu Qiqi. That scene would be so exciting. Some people would definitely go crazy. Why was Song Buozhi so confident? Because Lu Qianqian didn't know about the grudge between the Song family, Xing Xiao, and Mu Qiqi. Moreover, he would make Lu Qianqian walk into a trap step by step. Sheng Kai was spared from a calamity. Song Qiaozhi's face lit up. Their relationship had improved by leaps and bounds last night, and they were now the closest relationship. Although they didn't know how long this relationship could last, the two injured people seemed to have a common understanding. They would go wherever they could. At the very least, they wouldn't let each other down. A few days had passed since the pregnancy was exposed. The Song family didn't seem to have made much of a move. Mu Qiqi heaved a sigh of relief, but she was afraid that the Song family would plot an even bigger scheme. Therefore, from time to time, she would call the people around her to ensure that they weren't being harassed by the Song family. You're just a worrywart. When the baby is born, there'll be a lot of things waiting for you. Seeing that she was restless, Fifth Aunt quickly said, "There's a teacher for everything outside. Since you're taking care of the fetus, don't think about anything else. The sky won't fall." Mu Qiqi thought to herself that she was right. But Fifth Aunt, I don't want to do handicrafts anymore. Mu Qiqi felt a little guilty when she saw the half-damaged products she had wasted. What's wrong with these things? Then what do you want to do? I still want to read my own book. Mu Qiqi turned around and looked at her forensics book. She felt that it was covered in dust. Then go ahead and watch. But the more I look, the more I want to use my knife. Fifth Aunt was speechless. Forget it, I'll go see a doctor and give Badian a strong heart. Fifth Aunt did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, she felt that her young madam was pitiful. Even if there was no access control, she did not have many places to go. Some people in the school said that the forensics laboratory was too dangerous and would not let her participate. In fact, the result was the same. She would ask the old woman to think of some ways to make this young madam happy another day. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the meeting room of Lu Enterprises. At the moment, an emergency meeting was being held. Lu Enterprises had just entered the cosmetics industry, so they suffered a loss on the raw materials. They had already agreed on the purchase price with the seller, but in just a few days the raw material seller changed his mind and increased the price several times. Lu Qianqian was so angry that she went to the raw material merchants several times. However, they deliberately avoided her and did not give her any chance. He changed his mind just like that, completely disregarding the spirit of the contract. "Mr. Lu, why don't we use other raw materials? He's not the only one." The assistant tried to persuade her because Lu Qianqian had gone up the mountain several times, but there was no result. If this continued, it would be a waste of time. Although I'm angry on the surface in terms of raw materials, their quality is still the best. If it's really just a doubling of the price, it's actually still within the budget. I'm just afraid that this boss won't even give me a chance to negotiate. Lu Qianqian rejected her assistant's suggestion and went up the mountain again. "But you can't keep waiting like this. Go to the car. I'll be here alone." Lu Qianqian was wearing a white professional suit and white high heels. She was clearly feeling uncomfortable, but she was still unwilling to accept the result in her heart. She was not willing to settle for the next best thing. A moment later, the sun shone down, and Lu Qianqian was already sweating profusely. At this moment, a blue Maybach stopped by the roadside, and a black figure got out of the car. Of course, Lu Qianqian recognized him. Wasn't this the new rich man of Jianchuan, Song Buozhi? Of course, she knew that Song Buozhi and the Xing family had a grudge, but she saw it as a business dispute. This was very normal. Song Buozhi walked past Lu Qianqian and went straight into the raw material merchant's villa. It turned out that he was a guest here. He was just an unrelated person, so Lu Qianqian did not care. However, a moment later the raw material merchant asked someone to invite her in. "If Miss Lu plans to use this method to solve problems in the future, then you're really easy to bully." Song Buozhi smiled as he came out of the living room and handed her his silk scarf. "Choose another time in the future. It's noon now." Lu Qianqian was amazed. Before she could react, she took the silk scarf from Song Buozhi. The raw material merchant said, "Mr. Song and I are friends. Since Mr. Song has spoken, of course I'll do him a favor. The price will still be calculated according to the contract, but I want a fixed amount." Lu Qianqian suddenly realized that the other party had agreed to sign a new contract with her. However, why was the Song family helping her? Lu Qianshan felt that this person was strange. She really wanted to turn around and ask him, but Song Buozhi had already left the villa. However, I have a question. Miss Lu, do you and Mr. Song know each other? Lu Qianshan shook her head. This is the first time I've met him. It's not strange. This Mr. Song is easy to lend a helping hand. It's your luck that you met him today. After saying that, the raw material merchant called his lawyer to renegotiate the contract with the Lu Corporation. Lu Qianshan looked at the man's handkerchief in her hand and was a little fearful. Boss, forget it. I don't plan to sign the contract for the time being. She believed that there was no such thing as a pie falling from the sky for no reason. She didn't want to owe someone a favor for no reason. As for this handkerchief, she had to find an opportunity to return it to the Song family. It seemed to be very expensive. The assistant saw her coming out of the villa in a daze and quickly went up to her. Xiaolu? Where's the man who drove the Maybach just now? He left, the assistant replied. Lu Qianshan sighed and handed the handkerchief to the assistant. Go and check the address of the Yashang group for me and send this over. This? A man's handkerchief? The assistant was a little surprised. After all, it was easy for people to think of adultery. Lu Qianshan had a fiancé after all. If she was involved with someone else, it would be terrible. Chapter 876. That's good. Xiaolu, you scared me to death. Think about it. You're a married woman. I was afraid that something would happen to your relationship. The assistant gave her a heads up. Young Master Lin is still in a deadlock with his family because of you. You're thinking too much. Lu Qianshan glared at him and turned to return to the car. However, the matter of the raw materials could not be resolved. What should she do? Has the contract been signed? Lu Qianshan shook her head in frustration. I don't dare to sign it casually. It's okay, Xiaolu. Why don't we go back and study it again to see if there are any new materials that can be replaced? The assistant comforted her. Lu Qianshan nodded. That's the only thing we can do for now. The assistant looked at the handkerchief in his hand and felt that it was like a hot potato. Therefore, after returning to the Lu Corporation, he immediately found out the new address of the Yashang group and sent the handkerchief to Song Buozhi in the fastest way possible. It was obvious that he did not want to have anything to do with it. Song Qiaozhi also learned that Lu Qianshan did not sign the contract in the end. Although she was a little disappointed and felt that her masculine charm was greatly reduced, it was also because of this that Lu Qianshan fell deeper into the trap. What a stubborn girl. Lin Mu, and did not often have holidays, so he had very little time to spend with Lu Qianshan in the past few months. In addition, he worked very hard, so he stood her up several times when he should have returned to Lu Qianshan's side. Lu Qianshan knew that he wanted to achieve results too much, so her heart ached and she understood. She never had any complaints. After the incident with the handkerchief, Lu Qianshan invested in the discovery of new materials. Indeed, she found one, but she had to go to the surrounding hill city to discuss cooperation. Lu Qianshan and the other party agreed that after 4 days, Lin Mu, and would have 2 days off. Taking advantage of this opportunity, she wanted to bring Lin Mu, and to the Banyan courtyard to visit Mu Qiqi. After all, a few days ago Xiao Qi's pregnancy had made the news. She didn't know how she was feeling now. At night Lin Mu, and arrived home. Because of the hot weather, Lin Mu, and's face had turned even darker. When Lu Qianshan saw her lover, her heart couldn't help but race. Scumbag, you're finally willing to come home. Lin Mu, and put down his luggage and put on a medal for her. I want it for you. Lu Qianshan looked at the medal in front of her chest. She was very excited. This person was becoming more and more manly. He was the mobile tough guy that the fans talked about, a walking hormone. What? Are you too excited to speak? Lin Mu, and smiled, revealing his neat and beautiful white teeth. I haven't been home for such a long time. How's my chili? Mom is waiting for us to eat. Let's go home first. We still have to go to the Banyan courtyard to see Xiao Qi later. Lin Mu, and put his arm around Lu Qianshan's shoulders and whispered into her ear, Can we not go? I missed you. Hearing this hint, Lu Qianshan blushed. It's important to look at Qiqi. Sleep is also very important. Scumbag. Of course, Lu Qianshan could not refuse such a request. So after dinner she called Mu Qiqi. Qiqi, it's too late now. I've delayed your and the baby's rest. We'll come again tomorrow. Mu Qiqi narrowed her eyes and asked casually, Is Lin Mu and back? I just came back. Oh, then I understand. Take it easy, baby. After saying that, Mu Qiqi hung up the phone. The two of them were best friends. They knew very well about this kind of thing. Of course they had to be affectionate. Of course she couldn't ruin other people's good things. After hanging up, Lu Chanshan felt a little guilty. Why did it seem like she couldn't wait for something to happen? At this moment, Lin Mu and hugged her from behind and whispered in her ear, "Mom is going back to her room to rest." Lu Chanshan turned around and saw Lin Mu and's bronze chest. She was a little dazed. "It's been a long time since I hugged you. I missed you." Lu Chanshan was satisfied and took the initiative to give him a kiss. For energetic men and women who loved each other deeply at this time, there was no need to be reserved at all. They just needed to let go and enjoy each other's love. "In the police academy I'm almost on fire. As long as I think of you, I feel uncomfortable." Such words of love were the most direct and the most effective for a woman. "Little Pepper, let's get married after we graduate, okay?" Amidst the passion, Lin Mu and stared at Lu Chanshan beneath him. "You can't refuse. You've even accepted my proposal gift. I traded my life for that medal. Scumbag. You don't even have a new idea when you propose." They hugged each other tightly. Lin Mu and quickened his movements and sent the one he loved above the clouds. Afterward, Lin Mu and hugged Lu Chanshan and played with her hair. "I think I might need a few years to get promoted after I graduate from the police academy. Aren't you afraid that I'm not worthy of you?" The dignified young Master Lin dares to say such words? Lu Chanshan was not worried at all. "Just do what you need to do. I won't be an obstacle to you." "Nonsense. You're my motivation." With those words, Lin Mu and carried Lu Chanshan to the bathroom, which made her scream. "What are you doing?" "Doing it once in the bathroom. I can't wait to leave traces of our love in every corner of the room. Little Pepper, I love you. I miss you." Hearing such a confession, did Lu Chanshan have any room to refuse? Not at all. Throughout the night, she could not remember how many times she was tortured by this man. She only knew that when this man said the word sleep, the sky outside the window was already blue. It seemed that she could only wait until tomorrow to talk about the business trip. The next day, Banyan Courtyard. When Mu Chichi woke up, she was even more listless than the tortured Lu Chanshan. Sheng Xiao woke up and saw that she did not look well, so he stopped her from getting up. "I'll call the doctor to come and take a look." "I'm fine." Mu Chichi quickly hugged Sheng Xiao. "I just had a nightmare." "What kind of nightmare?" Sheng Xiao returned to the bed and wrapped her in a blanket. Could Mu Chichi say that it was because she was affected by Lu Chanshan last night and had a dream that she should not have? Sheng Xiao lowered his head and saw that the thing in his arms had turned from pale to crimson. He could guess a little. What's in a pregnant woman's head? "It's all Chanshan's fault for calling me last night," Mu Chichi complained. "Think about it. Before I got pregnant, Master Xiao, you were so masculine. We had fun almost every night. Now that you haven't touched me for a long time, of course I'll let my imagination run wild." "You're spoiled." Sheng Xiao pinched her nose and said, "Since you haven't slept enough, sleep a little more." "Forget it. Chanshan and the others will come over later. I'd better get up." Mu Chichi covered her blushing face and said, "Oh my God, it's so scary. I suspect that the person who can't take it without that life for 10 months is me." Chapter 877. Sheng Xiao took the opportunity to hook her chin. He leaned over and kissed her thin lips. After a while he let go. "I'll quench your thirst." After being teased like this, Mu Chichi wanted to bite this man to death even more. After breakfast, Sheng Xiao was still reading the newspaper in the living room. Lu Chanshan and Mu Chichi appeared at the entrance of the Banyan Courtyard hand in hand. Mu Chichi opened the door and saw the two of them. She immediately hugged them. "Be careful. You're already going to be a mother. Why are you still so energetic?" Lu Chanshan quickly held her steady. "It's right under your CO's nose." "It's fine. The baby is very healthy," Mu Chichi replied as she rubbed her lower abdomen. Then she saw Lu Chanshan and Lin Mu's fingers tightly clasped together. She also thought of the dream last night, so she whispered a few words into Lu Chanshan's ear. Lu Chanshan's face turned red. "You're really married and already have children. You're getting more and more shameless. Xiaoqi, how have you been?" Hearing Lin Mu An's words, Mu Chichi finally noticed the man beside Lu Chanshan. He was really interesting. She didn't expect him to be a tough guy. "Not bad, Lin Mu An. I can tell that the two of you are very harmonious. You guys accompany her well. She's been bored at home for a while. She's a chatterbox." At this moment, Sheng Xiao put down the newspaper and got up to go out. "Don't worry, CO Sheng." Lu Chanshan raised her hand to promise. Xing Xiao gestured to Lin Mu, and lightly and then went out. This was his usual aura. Why was he in a hurry to go out? If he remembered correctly, Lu Qianshan should be nervous when she saw him. In order to let the two best friends talk about everything, Xing Xiao went out early. As for Lin Mu In, he was a little envious of Lin Mu Un. He was the type of person who could speak up in a crowd of women. Then Lu Qianshan was invited into the living room. The two best friends started to talk and couldn't stop. Of course, Mu Qiqi didn't forget to remind her best friend to be safe. Qianshan, the Sheng family has been in some trouble recently. It's all because of me. You have to be extra careful. Don't get targeted. If you get into any danger because of me, I won't be able to feel at ease for the rest of my life. I have him by my side. Besides, I have bodyguards usually. So you don't have to worry about me. Lu Qianshan pointed at the man beside her. Don't lie to me. That B** starred Lin Mu, and spends most of his time in the police academy. In short, remember what I said. If you notice anything unusual, contact me immediately. Contact a pregnant lady like you to go out and fight with me? I can be torn in half by your CEO. Lu Qianshan was very disdainful. Don't worry, I'll remember. Indeed, as your CEO said, after getting pregnant she really has a loose tongue. That's good. When do you plan to get married? If you don't, you won't be able to keep up with my progress. Mu Qiqi rubbed her belly. Thinking of the proposal last night, Lu Qianshan was really embarrassed. She could only say, when he graduates, your baby will be born. It'll be even livelier. When it came to these topics, Lu Qianshan felt that Mu Qiqi could not stop talking until the next morning. Thinking that it was not easy for Lin Mu En to come back, she quickly stopped Mu Qiqi. We're leaving now. We still have a date in the afternoon. Alright, I'll let you go. Lin Mu En, protect Qianshan well. I'm not joking with you. I got it, Lin Mu En answered Mu Qiqi seriously. Mu Qiqi was satisfied and watched the two of them leave. However, for some reason she still felt a little uneasy. After leaving the Banyan courtyard, the two of them went on dates everywhere. However, there were too many problems with the Lu Corporation. Therefore, before it was even the middle of the afternoon, the assistant called. CEO Lu, when are you coming to the company? The shareholders are asking about the materials again. I've already found the new materials. Tell him the truth. Alright, I can only block them for a while. The assistant hung up the phone pitifully. On the other side, Lin Mu En saw that Lu Qianshan was really busy, so he said, I'll send you back to the Lu Corporation. I don't want to. It wasn't easy for me to go on a date with you. The boss wants to take a holiday today. But if something happens to the Lu Corporation, what will you do? I'll accompany you in your office. It can be considered a date. Lin Mu En comforted her. I know you value what Dad left behind. Don't be delayed because of this. I really have a sensible fiancé. Lu Qianshan pinched Lin Mu En's ear and admitted defeat. I'm just afraid that you'll be bored. I won't be bored with you around. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They held hands and returned to the Lu Corporation. When the assistant saw this, she immediately understood why Lu Qianshan didn't even want to go to work. Beauty was a hindrance. I'll go to the meeting first and explain this matter to the shareholders. You stay here and read. Lin Mu En nodded and sat down on the sofa in her office. This little woman had really grown up. She looked like a capable and experienced female CEO. Lin Mu En couldn't help but smile. He didn't know if he would be able to catch up to this little pepper in a few years. He wanted to be worthy of her. Soon, the person at the front desk delivered a package to the CEO's office and said that it was something from the Yashang Group to Lu Qianshan. Let me sign for it. Lin Mu En took the small box and signed his name. However, even if it was Lu Qianshan's things, he wouldn't casually open it. Even lovers had their privacy. The assistant returned to the office before Lu Qianshan. When she saw that the box she had sent had been returned, she was shocked. Lin Mu En was still in the office. If he knew that this was a man's handkerchief, he might have thought too much. Lin Mu En saw that the assistant's expression was a little strange, so he asked, What's wrong? Mr. Lin, please give me the box. This is actually something that the CEO asked me to send out. I didn't expect it to be returned. Lin Mu En didn't think too much about it and handed the box over. After a while, Lu Qianshan returned to the office. Taking advantage of the fact that there was no one around, she hugged Lin Mu En's waist. I'm sorry that I left you alone in the office when you came back. I couldn't accompany you. Who asked my fiancé to be the CEO of the Lu Corporation? Lin Mu En comforted her. Go back to work. I'll make it up to you when we go home tonight. The hint in her words successfully pleased Lin Mu-un. However, sometimes his heart ached for her. A girl in her early 20s should have enjoyed a beautiful life, but she had to sign documents and attend meetings here every day. Perhaps this kind of life would continue for many more years. As a man, he felt that he was neglecting his duty if he couldn't share the burden for his woman. Lu Qianqian also noticed that the man's gaze was a little strange today, so she asked him, "What philosophy are you thinking about?" Chapter 878. If you really want to live such a life, why didn't you listen to your grandfather's arrangements? Why do you have to suffer outside? I know you don't like this. It's fine if I suffer alone, but why do you have to drag my dear fiancé into it? Lin Mu-un enjoyed it and stopped mentioning it. However, unknowingly, Lu Qianqian worked overtime until 10 o'clock in the evening. If it weren't for the sudden blackout in the office, she wouldn't have noticed the time. Lin Mu-un turned on the flashlight on his phone and looked at Lu Qianqian. "It's time to get off work, isn't it? But I didn't save my documents." Lu Qianqian frowned. "It's very important. Then turn on the light on your phone. I'll go and see what's going on." There was no one in the office, and the assistant had been sent home early. Lin Mu-un checked the power switch in the office and spent some time to turn on the backup switch. Lu Qianqian took the opportunity to turn on the computer and save the documents. Then she turned around and looked at Lin Mu-un apologetically. "I didn't see the time. It's so late." Lin Mu-un walked in front of Lu Qianqian and wrapped her around the edge of the desk. "Do you work like this every day?" Lu Qianqian scratched her hair awkwardly. "Sometimes I work earlier." Lin Mu-un took the opportunity to bite her lower lip and said in a punitive tone, "I know a strong woman who does investment. Maybe I can invite her back. Since you don't want me to share your burden, you can hire someone else, right?" "Of course I want to, but I don't have a full grasp of the company's situation. That's why I'm like this," Lu Qianqian answered guiltily. Lin Mu-un sighed and hugged her on the desk. "At the very least, Lu Corporation has shares in Zhongting. As long as you need it, Zhongting will send someone over to help. Why torture yourself like this? Don't you trust them?" "Don't educate me. I understand." Lu Qianqian lost her confidence and plunged into Lin Mu-un's arms. Lin Mu-un smiled and admitted defeat. "Can we go home now, Xiolu? I'm hungry. It's been 7 or 8 hours. Of course you're hungry. I'll take you to eat something delicious." With that, Lin Mu-un picked Lu Qianqian up and left the building in a bear hug. While they were eating, Lin Mu-un's phone rang countless times. Lu Qianqian saw it and urged him, "Why aren't you answering the phone?" "I saw it. I think it was your aunt." "There's nothing urgent. Hurry up and eat." Lin Mu-un didn't care at all. "Is it about your grandfather? If it is, then answer it. Otherwise I won't feel at ease." Lin Mu-un glanced at her and finally answered the call. On the other end of the line, no one knew what Lin Mu-un's aunt said, but Lin Mu-un's expression changed. "What happened?" Lu Qianqian had a bad feeling. "It's nothing. It's just that the old man's illness is erratic." Lin Mu-un hung up the phone, but he did not tell the truth. It was just that telling Lu Qianqian about this would only add to her worries. "Is that all?" Lu Qianqian asked. "Don't be so sensitive every time you mention the Lin family. I don't mind it as much as you think." "It's really nothing." Lin Mu-un kept his mouth shut. Lu Qianqian didn't ask any more because she knew that Lin Mu-un had almost cut off all ties with his family for her. It had been a long time since he entered the Lin family. However, she could really face it with him. The two of them quickly ate dinner and went home. While Lin Mu-un was taking a shower, Lu Qianqian found the number on Lin Mu-un's phone and mustered up her courage to call it. "Mu-un? I'm Lu Qianqian. Hello." Lu Qianqian didn't expect that it was Lin Mu-un's mother and not his aunt. Lin Mu-un had grown up under old Lin's knee and rarely mentioned his parents. Occasionally he would mention that he was doing business outside. Now that they suddenly contacted each other, Lu Qianqian was a little at a loss. "I'm sorry, Auntie. I thought something happened to the Lin family, so It's okay. I just called him to inform him that I divorced his father." Lu Qianqian was speechless. "It's too late. You should rest." After saying that, Mama Lin hung up the phone decisively as if she didn't care about her son's feelings at all. Lu Qianqian put down the phone and felt that the world was quite ridiculous. It was okay. This man, he still had her to love. "Why are you sitting on the bed in a daze?" Lin Mu-un came out of the bathroom with his upper body naked. Lu Qianqian took the opportunity to hug him. Her voice was a little choked. Scumbag, don't waste time. You have to leave tomorrow morning. I want you. Both of them had something on their minds, but they found a good way to vent it. That was crazy love. When the sun rose, Lin moved and quietly got up and kissed the woman beside him. Little Pepper, wait for me to come back and marry you. Lu Chanchan? Prison board spring? Hot. About consumption of fishy words, roast blood? Mujihui. Collapse? Human. Teeth blowing neon? Slap. Essel? Johan Meng? Pressure? Orange soup? Aizwan neon wei dong? Forgive? After Lin Mu and left, Lu Chanchan sat on the bed in a daze for almost an hour. Then she picked up the phone and called the pregnant woman. Shachi. Why is there this voice? Did Lin Muan hurt you? Can I talk to your CEO first? Lu Chanchan said in a low voice. Mu Chichi handed the phone to Xing Xiao. It's Chanchan. Don't scare her. Xing Xiao frowned slightly. Was he that scary? However, unknowingly Xing Xiao still listened to Mu Chichi's words. Even if his voice was not gentle, it was not too cold. Hello. Lu Chanchan said that she was powerless and hoped that Xing Xiao could send someone to support her. Xing Xiao thought that it was a big deal. Send the Lu Corporation's information over in the afternoon. Let me take a look at the situation first. After that, I'll arrange a suitable candidate for you based on the Lu Corporation's situation. Thank you, CO. In 2 minutes, Xing Xiao solved the problem with one sentence. Then he returned the phone to Mu Chichi. I have an early meeting. I'll go out first. Got it, Master Xiao? Mu Chichi took the phone back. Now was the time for the two sisters to have a heart-to-heart talk. What's wrong? Why are you calling for help so early in the morning? Because I have a bad feeling. I've spent too much time on work. If this goes on, sooner or later there will be a relationship crisis. You're quite quick to realize it. Mu Chichi smiled. Does Lin Mu and have a love rival? Chapter 879. There was still a long way to go between them. Mu Chichi could not help but feel gratified when she heard that. The fact that you can think that way proves that your view of love has matured a lot. Chanchan, no matter what happens between the two of you, I just want to say one thing. No matter what happens in the future, don't blame each other. If Lin Mu and is hiding something from you, you have to put yourself in his shoes and think about why he did it. Even if things really get out of hand, don't forget that you once risked your life for each other. There's nothing unmanageable about it. As long as he's still Lin Mu, and I want him. Lu Chanchan answered quickly and firmly. She was very clear that her feelings were not child's play. She was aiming for a lifetime. Therefore, no matter how difficult or dangerous it was, she would not give up. Seeing you like this, I'm so envious. Mu Chichi touched her belly and said, I probably won't have the chance to be as vigorous as you guys anymore. Alright, there are two of you now. Don't mess around with these useless things. Moreover, with your intelligence, it's very difficult for you to have the intention to love and kill Master Xiao. You can't escape his grasp, so you should just obediently be the group's pet. Mu Chichi whimpered and accepted her fate. If you need anything, remember to call me. Got it? Rumbling and throbbing. After that, the two of them hung up. Mu Chichi sat on the bed in a daze. She had a feeling that something would happen between Lu Chanchan and Lin Muan. It was not her intuition but because of their positions. She only hoped that they could hold each other's hands no matter what the situation was. Afternoon, Yashang Group. Song Buji threw the man's handkerchief that had been sent back twice into the trash can. Lu Chanchan was more difficult to break through than he had imagined. Of course, this was just the beginning. Nothing could be concluded yet. In any case, there were still many opportunities for him to meet Lu Chanchan. Then let's meet again in 2 days at Hill City. In the afternoon, Lu Chanchan sorted out the information of Lu Holdings and sent it to Xing Zhao's office in Zhongting. Xing Xiao looked at the report of Lu Holdings during this period. Although he felt that Lu Chanchan had tried her best and did a good job, she had put in too much effort and got herself into trouble. All he needed was a capable helper, and Lu Enterprises' performance should not be limited to this. So, he took out his phone and made a call. It should be a small problem for Lu Chanchan to send a woman over. After receiving his reply, Lu Chanchan finally understood why Xing Xiao was undefeatable in Jianchuan. With his efficiency, who else would be king if not him? After getting the resume of the assistant, Lu Chanchan planned to leave the position of vice CEO to her. Because she was about to have a useful assistant, Lu Chanchan had some time to find out where Mama Lin was living. She was in London. Lu Chanshan immediately booked a ticket to London because she did not want Lin Mu and to lose his mother like this, even if Lin Mu and would blame her for being nosy in the future. Therefore, she planned to let the deputy CEO go to Ling City directly after taking office. Song Buji never expected that he, who was good at flirting with women, would run into a wall in front of Lu Chanshan. After nearly 9 hours of flight, Lu Chanshan finally arrived in London. However, she was unfamiliar with the place and her English barely passed. It wasn't easy for her to find Mama Lin's apartment. She carried her suitcase and looked for her, but after ringing the doorbell she regretted it. If she had known earlier she wouldn't have been so abrupt. However, before she could react, the brown door was opened. A woman with a bruised face poked her head out and looked at Lu Chanshan. Her tone was cold. "Who are you looking for?" "Looking for Auntie Lin." A surprised look appeared on Mama Lin's face. After a moment of silence, she opened the door and said to Lu Chanshan, "Come in." "You?" Mama Lin was wearing blue home clothes. There were many wounds on her body. It seemed like she had been beaten up. "I'm Chanshan Mu, Anne's fiancé. His father and I have officially signed the divorce papers. We have nothing to do with each other in the future. If you just want to get to know me, you can leave now." Mama Lin chased her away without any hesitation. "Auntie, I don't deserve to be his mother." After saying this, Lin Muji's tears rolled down her face. Lu Chanshan wanted to say something more, but she was pulled up from behind by a tall man. A series of English words burst out of his mouth. Mama Lin looked nervous. She quickly went up to protect Lu Chanshan. And right in front of Lu Chanshan she was beaten by the man. Perhaps because he was tired, the man walked away. Lu Chanshan quickly went to help Mama Lin. "Auntie, how are you? Do you want to call the police?" "You don't have to care about my business. You can leave." Mama Lin staggered to her feet. She wanted to push Lu Chanshan out of the door, but she vomited blood and fainted. Lu Chanshan struggled to maintain her composure and called for help. It was not easy for her to send Mama Lin to the hospital. Now her mind was a mess. Then Lu Chanshan calmed down and set up the translation device. She called her assistant and asked him to rush over immediately. After doing all this, it was only 7 o'clock in the evening in London. However, when Mama Lin was in the middle of the emergency treatment, a few Englishmen pretended to be unfamiliar with her and passed by the emergency room. Lu Chanshan was still a little wary. So, she felt that she might have encountered something and provoked someone she shouldn't have. Lu Chanshan sensed danger. There was no one else she could call, so she immediately called Mu Chichi, who was far away in Jianchuan. However, it was not even 5 o'clock in the morning in Jianchuan. Xing Xiao woke up and saw the phone. He frowned. However, it should not be easy to call at this time. So, even though he was impatient, he still pressed the button to pick up the call. "Hello? Xing Xiao. Grazio. Did I disturb Chichi's rest? What do you think? But I have no one else to call. You're looking for her. It's the same as looking for me. Just tell me." Xing Xiao got up quietly, afraid that he would wake up the thing on the bed. "I'm in England. I'm in some trouble." Lu Chanshan spent some time to tell him the general situation. After Xing Xiao heard it, he was silent. In the end he sighed. "When you did this, did you consider Lin Mu, Anne's feelings? He seems to be avoiding it. Forget it. Stay in the hospital and don't go anywhere. I'll call a friend in England." "Thank you, great CEO." After losing her father, Lu Chanshan had no one to rely on. In Jianchuan, because of her father, she had built a network of connections and could barely get by. But who would she be when she was out of the country? It was also at this moment that Lu Chanshan realized how much effort her father had put into teaching her English so that she could learn. "You don't plan to tell Lin Muin?" Lu Chanshan thought for a moment and only said one word. "Don't." Chapter 880. Mind your own business. Don't you know your place? After hanging up the phone, Xing Xiao sighed in the darkness. However, when he turned around, he realized that the person on his bed was the same. If she knew that Lu Chanshan was in trouble in England tomorrow, she would also want to fly over to help. She was young and had the energy to struggle. She had to pursue a result in everything. She was full of passion and could risk her life for love. At the thought of this, Xing Xiao smiled helplessly. It was all because of this thing that Feng Shanshan and Lu Chanshan were in trouble. If it weren't for her, who would these two be? Since when did Xing Xiao care about them one by one? Moreover, he didn't want to control his own woman. Therefore, Xing Xiao called Lin Mu, and before dawn. "Your woman is in England. Do you know?" Lin Mu, and was a little stunned. She called me at 4 o'clock in the morning last night. She encountered something on the streets of London that she couldn't solve. I think you know why she's doing this. Linmu, and be a man. Don't hide anything from your woman. Your avoidance means that she's dispensable to you. She doesn't even need to know about your matters. That's not what a lover does. Of course, that's not what a man should do either. With that, Xing Xiao hung up. If Lin Mu and was smart enough, he would know how to deal with all this. When Lin Mu and received the call, he could tell that Xing Xiao was blaming him. Based on his understanding of Lu Qianqian, it was impossible for her to take the initiative to ask Xing Xiao for help. The person she wanted to look for was Mu Qiqi. However, Mu Qiqi was pregnant and she was disturbed so late at night. Of course, Xing Xiao was angry and wanted to torment her. England, that fool really dared to go. At the thought of this, Lin Mu and felt helpless and heartache. Then he packed his things and asked for leave from his teacher. After a night of torment, Lu Qianqian finally saw the light. The little assistant stood in front of her in confusion, and there was also the bodyguard sent by Sheng Zhao's friend. With such protection, Lu Qianqian felt much more at ease. Mama Lin's injuries were too serious. After treatment, she fell asleep in the ward. It took her a whole 10 hours to wake up. "Auntie, how are you? Why are you still here?" Mother Lin's voice was hoarse. Her throat was dry and she was in a sorry state. "You're Mu An's mother. I can't leave you alone." Lu Qianqian handed her some warm water. "Drink some? I don't have much of a relationship with him. You don't have to be so enthusiastic. I won't affect you." After saying that, Mama Lin lay back down and turned her back to Lu Qianqian. Lu Qianqian did not force her. But not long after, 3 British men suddenly barged into the ward and were about to grab Mama Lin. However, they were stopped by a bodyguard not far away. Afterwards, the little assistant communicated with them in fluent English. Only then did she find out that Mama Lin owed a huge debt. These people were afraid that she would run away, so they were keeping a close watch on her. "Boss Lu, it's not a small amount. It's 30 million pounds. That was a few hundred million." Lu Qianqian looked surprised. "Do you know why?" "It's probably because Auntie's previous business failed and owes it," the assistant replied. "It's not me, it's that thing Lin Peiran who owes it." Mama Lin suddenly replied angrily. "He threw the debt to me, threw the divorce agreement to me, threw everything to me." Lu Qianqian reacted for a moment and suddenly understood who Lin Peiran was talking about. It was Lin Mu An's father. For so many years in the Lin family, the old man had been living a glorious life outside. She did not expect that his son and daughter-in-law would have a different life abroad. "You don't have to worry about me. Let me die here." It was such a huge burden. Even if Lu Qianqian wanted to carry it, even if she was willing, she lacked the ability to do so. However, as long as it was Lin Mu An's matter, she would not hesitate. "I can pay it back. I can try my best to think of a way." But before she could finish, a force behind her pulled her aside. "You can what? Are you planning to sell Lu Corporation to pay off the debt?" Lu Qianqian focused and realized that it was Lin Mu An. She immediately felt a little uneasy. "Mu An, you're so capable. You came to London alone without telling me. Do you know why I grew up under Grandpa's knee? Because my parents are not responsible at all. After I was born, they threw me to Grandpa. Since then, they did not care about me. Although Grandpa is strong, he did not want to take on the responsibility of his parents. He was forced to do so." "I know I'm being nosy," Lin Mu An looked at his woman. She had a pair of huge dark circles under her eyes. She still had the cheek to meddle in other people's business. "Come back with me." "But, someone will take care of it." Lin Mu An held her hand and said to her. "When I came here, I already called Aunt. She knows that she will come to deal with it. You can't help here. Is Lu Corporation not busy? I know that I made the decision on my own and made you very unhappy. Because I don't know what you're thinking. When your parents got divorced, you didn't mention a word to me. I was scared. Do you know that?" After hearing Lu Qianqian's grievance, Lin Mu An finally understood what Xing Xiao meant when he said that a man should not be like this. Damn it, what kind of man would make his woman cry? Lin Mu An couldn't help but curse at himself in his heart. "I don't want to hide it from you. I just don't have the concept of parents. So, I think it's normal for them to divorce. After all, they are a couple without feelings. The reason why I didn't tell you was because I knew that you would be busy until 10 o'clock every day. I didn't want to add to your troubles. If it makes you feel insecure, I'm sorry." Lu Qianqian's eyes turned red. She threw herself into Lin Mu An's arms. "I know I don't know anything. I only know how to do things recklessly. but I always want to open up these situations. I don't want to be sensitive when I keep mentioning your family. Lin Mu, and touched Lu Chanchan's head with heartache and comforted her silently. I always think that I can make achievements. That way I can let Grandpa know how firm my determination is. I always think that one day I can use my own ability to bring you home and let Grandpa acknowledge you. But before that I have to endure a lot of things. Loneliness and obstacles. Chanchan, can you give me some time to wait for us to become better? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause trouble for you. I just thought that I could be independent. But after coming out, I realized that I was so helpless and insignificant. Chapter 881. For you I'll be stupid. Lu Chanchan smiled through her tears. I think you're hopeless. That's what your father left for you. Guard it well, my girl. With that, Lin Mu, and left with Lu Chanchan. But, don't you want to see Auntie more? There's nothing to see. Lin Mu and said coldly. I don't have much feelings for her. Besides, if she's really innocent, the old man won't mistreat her. At the very least, he'll pull her out of the fire pit. Lu Chanchan thought that she was possessed. My mother will give you half. We've already split. I don't need you to tell me. The two of them walked on the streets of London. They couldn't help but slow down. They were in a foreign country with such a beautiful scenery. Lin Mu, and didn't want to waste his energy on these meaningless things. However, as they walked hand in hand, Lin Mu, and suddenly remembered something. Don't call Xiao Qi even if you don't have anyone to look for in the future. Didn't you think that she's pregnant? I thought the big CEO's mouth was tight. Lu Chanchan snorted. That's because he's warning me to keep an eye on my fiancée and do what a man should do. Don't always make you feel insecure. To be honest, Lin Mu, and quite admired Xing Xiao. He had such a powerful empire, but he could see the most delicate feelings of people so clearly. From this, it could be seen that Xing Xiao's sincerity towards Mu Qiqi was limitless. Remember who you should call when you encounter something in the future? Lu Chanchan hugged Lin Mu, Anne's waist, and buried her head in his arms. I know. Is it because you're abroad? You're so bold. Lin Mu, and wanted to tease her again, but the phone in his pocket rang again. Lin Mu, and looked at the caller ID with a complicated expression. But after a few seconds he still picked up. Grandpa. I'm back from London. I'm going home. Lin Mu, and was silent and didn't say anything. Don't worry. I won't tie you up. Lin Mu, and nodded in agreement after getting this promise. I know. I was going to have a good sleep with you in this hotel in London. But let's go home first. I took a leave to come here. Okay. Lu Chanchan nodded obediently. To Lu Chanchan, her mother had loved her since she was young. So, if Mama Lu was gone one day, she would be in so much pain that she would want to die. But to Lin Mu, and it was all the same whether he had a mother or not. After all, it was his grandfather who had raised him. So she really should not force her own thoughts on Lin Mu. And after returning to Jianchuan, I'll go to the Lin family once. You can go back and deal with your work. Don't worry, I'll use a man's way to have a good talk with Grandpa. Although Lu Chanchan was worried, she still respected Lin Mu, Anne's decision. Because of the relationship between Lin Mu and the Lin family, there seemed to be a glimmer of hope. The next morning, Hill City. Song Buiji had already thought of all the coincidental encounters, but he did not expect that the person representing the Lu Corporation to the Research Institute was not Lu Chanchan, but the new vice president of the Lu Corporation. In the end, his intelligence was not detailed enough. Once again he missed Lu Chanchan perfectly. What happened to the trap at every step? Actually, Song Buiji's plan was not bad. However, he did not expect that a woman could disregard everything for love. CEO Song, I've already found out that the CEO of the Lu Corporation has been in England for the past few days. It should be because of the Lin family. It's because of a man again. Song Buiji rubbed his acupuncture points and said, then let's wait for the next exciting meeting. Anyway, I have plenty of time now. I can afford to waste it. It's time to find a reliable person to insert into the Lu Corporation. If there's such wrong information in the future, you don't have to come to work anymore. The assistant was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. He quickly agreed and left. Were the people around Xing Xiao all so hot-blooded and impulsive? Song Buiji was full of interest. Late at night, the Lin family. Old Master Lin sat on the sofa with his unsmiling face. The surroundings were very quiet and there was no one else around. Lin Mu, and could not remember how long it had been since he had stepped into this house. He had once sworn to himself that he would definitely achieve something for the old man to see, but now, he was a little lacking in confidence. "You're here." The old man sat on the sofa, his tone cold. "Grandpa, I only found out about your parents' divorce. I've already asked your aunt to clean up the mess your father did. I'll just pretend that I don't have this son and you?" The old man suddenly looked at Lin Mu, and seriously. "I'm old, especially after what happened to your father. I feel that a person's energy is so limited. You're my grandson and a member of the Lin family. I can't be enemies with you forever. One of us has to admit defeat. So come back. I won't interfere with you going to the police academy. Think about it yourself. If you rely on your own abilities, when will you be able to reach the position you want? While your grandfather is still around, I can still pave the way for you. Since you want to be a police officer, then go ahead. What else could I be after?" With that, the old man got up from the sofa and returned to the room. He glanced at Lin Mu and said, "When you have time, bring that girl back for me to see. How stupid is she? She doesn't even know her own abilities and dares to stand up for others. 30 million pounds? Is she going to use half of Lu Holdings to pay off your mother's debt?" It turned out that the old man already knew about it. That was why he was softened. "I'm telling you, I just want to meet her. I don't mean anything else." The old man snorted and returned to his room. Lin Mu and was left alone, feeling as if he had been hit by a lottery ticket. This surprise came too suddenly. However, he might have to wait until his holiday to meet her. He had to report to the academy early the next morning. In fact, Lin Mu and did not know what his crisis was. It was an internal conflict with old Lin. But there was a bigger external threat. In short, after experiencing these things, Lin Mu and Lu Qianqian knew that it was even more impossible for them to be separated. However, Mu Qiqi did not know that it was over. Sheng Xiao kept it a secret until Lu Qianqian called. Only then did she know that such an episode had happened in these 2 days. Mu Qiqi was not convinced. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Tell you? Buy a ticket to London in the middle of the night and end up on the streets of London with Lu Qianqian?" Sheng Xiao snorted. Chapter 882. After I had your son, I was clearly much more stable. Mu Qiqi snorted softly to express her dissatisfaction with Sheng Xiao. "In the future, I won't care if your sister calls me in the middle of the night." Mu Qiqi knew that it was not good to offend this man, so she took the initiative to touch him. "Master Xiao, don't be like this. I can't go out to see my friends. It's already very pitiful." Sheng Xiao saw that she had been raised by fifth aunt to be fair and chubby. How did she look pitiful at all? Therefore, the mockery in the corner of his mouth intensified. "If you want to go out, I'm not really restricting you. But I'm restricting myself." Mu Qiqi was very self-aware. The Song family situation is still unclear now. I don't want to swagger out and become a target for them. Sheng Xiao could not deny it. He hugged her in his arms and kissed her. Only then did Mu Qiqi's pouting mouth relax. In the morning, after Sheng Xiao left, Lu Qianqian called Mu Qiqi excitedly. "Xiao Qi, Grandpa Lin Mu, and has agreed to let us be together. I just found out that Lin Mu and said that his grandfather asked him to bring me back for dinner. This old man has finally understood." Mu Qiqi sighed. She thought that he was going to be the most stubborn among these old men. "What should I do? I'm so nervous. Are we going today?" Lin Mu and has returned to school. "We have to wait for his holiday arrangements." Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes and said, "Then when he comes back on holiday you won't be nervous anymore." After suffering for so long, Lu Qianqian had finally come to an end. Of course, Mu Qiqi was happy for her good friend. "I really don't regret going to London at all. It's worth it." "You don't regret it at all. It's just that you called me in the middle of the night and Master Xiao intercepted you." Mu Qiqi was unhappy when she mentioned this. "I'm sorry. I won't call you in the middle of the night anymore." Mu Qiqi now understood why Sheng Xiao did not tell her. In that situation, even if she received the call, the phone would have fallen into Sheng Xiao's hands. "You guys have done well. If there's good news, you have to inform me immediately. I'll come out to celebrate with you. Of course. You're my best friend." Right now, Lu Qianqian was completely immersed in happiness, completely unaware of the storm she was about to face. It was just that after Lu Qianqian went to London for a long time, she did not hear any news from Mama Lin. However, she vaguely knew from Lin Mu, and that his aunt seemed to have handled this matter very well. Lu Qianqian gradually felt relieved when she thought that everything was developing in a good direction. In addition, the helper sent by Zhongting was very compatible with her. The two of them quickly became familiar with each other, especially during meetings. Their thoughts could not be any more in sync. The new material has already been used in the formula, so today we're going to discuss the packaging. What I'm thinking is that working with foreign manufacturers, in addition to being more cost-effective, can pave the way for us to open up the international market. Lu Qianqian's trip to London this time had certainly broadened her horizons. The new vice president gave her a thumbs up. The two of them had the same idea again. How about this? Vice President Qin, find a few suitable advertisers and we'll discuss the screening. There's no need. I already have a suitable choice on my side. It's just that when it comes to cooperation, I might need you to personally appear, CEO Lu. It's still in London. Vice President Qin winked at her. Okay, I'll go. Strategic cooperation is mutual. Of course, I have to express our greatest sincerity. After the meeting, Vice President Qin followed beside her and said, CEO Lu, I have an appointment with the other party to meet in London in 2 days. Okay, then I'll go back and prepare. You can come with me. After saying that, Lu Qianqian returned to her office. However, she would never have thought that the potted plant in the office belonging to the Lu Corporation had already been installed with a surveillance camera. Going to London again, right? Song Boiji, who was on the other side of the surveillance camera, rubbed his chin with interest. Spring, this is really a season suitable for dating. Although Song Boiji seemed to be very free, in this short period of time, he had already revealed his powerful side in the business world. His outstanding control allowed his educational institution to completely overcome the problem of not being able to adapt to the climate. Very soon he had established a solid foundation in Jianchuan. Outsiders might not be able to tell, but insiders could tell at a glance that the Song family had made up their mind to move south for development. Therefore, the company had already made the corresponding policies and transformation. Song Boiji was a very intelligent person. Of course, he also thought highly of himself, but he was born with a trace of laziness. He was very patient with his goals. When it came to Lu Qianqian, he had the mentality of a cat playing with a mouse. In the end, he would directly attack Mu Qiqi. Of course, the peace of the Song family would also arouse Xing Zhao's suspicions. He wondered if there was a possibility of him shifting his focus. He did not know how Xing Kai was doing now. This Song Boiji seems to know that someone is observing him, so his every move seems to be toying with others. He's also very wary, so others can't get close to him at all. This was the result of Su Che's observation for a few days. He did not gain anything practical. Xing Xiao stopped signing the documents and put down the expensive pen in his hand. Song Boiji is Song Jiang's trump card. Of course, he's not an ordinary person. Let's see who's more patient. He'll make a move eventually. How's a certain hotel now? It's under strict investigation now, so Song Jiang has temporarily stopped. Xing Xiao leaned back in his chair and sneered. Everyone causes trouble for each other from time to time. This is called reciprocity. Aren't we going to continue investigating for the Shen family? Xing Xiao was extraordinarily calm. He shook his head. Although I'm in the military industry, I don't want to participate in politics. Su Che, remember, I'm just a businessman. I don't have to do this to protect my family. Besides, the Shen family doesn't care about such dirty methods. Xing Zhao's purpose for doing this was very simple. He wanted to keep the Shen family and Zhongting innocent. Even if they were to be investigated one day, they would not be afraid of anyone. Got it. Looking at the time, it was almost time to go home. Thinking of the little pig at home, Xing Xiao took off his coat from the hanger and quickened his pace home because Mu Qiqi had a prenatal checkup that night. When the doctor announced that the child was officially 8 weeks and 2 months old, Mu Qiqi cheered and became even more depressed. Because there were still 8 months to go. Actually, pregnancy isn't as scary as you think. There's no need to have so many taboos. You can do what you like, the doctor said to Mu Qiqi with a smile. Mu Qiqi suddenly raised her head, her eyes shining. However, a moment later she lowered them again. You can't expect a science student to paint, play the piano, and cultivate her character. Xing Xiao knew that this thing liked the cold knives in the forensic laboratory the most. Chapter 883. The doctor held back his laughter. After a long while he said, "You're a medical student yourself. Actually, you know that it's not a problem to work during pregnancy. You just need to pay attention to your daily life." "I'm just a student. How can I have the qualifications to work?" Mu Qiqi said self-deprecatingly. The doctor did not say anything else, nor did he have any instructions. The most important thing was that Xing Xiao had a fifth aunt at home who was very good at cooking. Sheng Xiao saw Mu Qiqi's eager look and remained silent. When the two of them got into the car and went home, Sheng Xiao said, "If you want, you can continue to be Professor Tang's assistant. I don't have any other conditions. I only have one condition. Don't go out into the field." Mu Qiqi knew that this was the biggest concession Sheng Xiao had made. Actually, the main reason was because he knew that she would not be at home. He wanted to lock her at home for 8 months. Just thinking about it made his heart ache. "Forget it. It's just 8 months. It'll be over soon." Mu Qiqi refused. "You don't have to care about my feelings because of these things. I really want to give birth to a baby for you. I really love this child. Besides, I'm just a student who has suspended my studies. What right do I have? No one is more qualified than you." After hearing this, Mu Qiqi could not help but laugh. "Master Xiao, tell me, why do you like a weirdo like me? I only have this right in your heart. How is the person I taught bad?" Looking at the pride in Sheng Xiao's eyes, Mu Qiqi knew that even though he was 30 years old, she could occasionally see the shadow of a 26-year-old. After returning home, Mu Qiqi did not take this matter to heart, but Sheng Xiao took it to heart. At night, after Mu Qiqi fell asleep, Sheng Xiao called Tang Yen. Logically speaking, Mu Qiqi's identity was awkward. Now that she was pregnant and had Sheng Xiao behind her, the branch office would not accept her no matter what. However, Tang Yen considered Mu Qiqi's sensitivity to investigating cases, so he still applied to the chief. She used to be a student in the forensic science department. She came here to intern as an assistant so she could still have a job. Now that she's taken a break from school and is pregnant, even if our branch office is short of people, we don't need her. "Tang Yen, don't look for trouble for yourself," the chief said to him. Mu Qiqi was born to be a forensic doctor. She should do criminal investigation work. You've seen how sensitive she is to solving cases. Chief, Mu Qiqi has helped us solve many cases before. Moreover, she's only here to help Professor Tang. She won't go out to the field or participate in the discussion of the case. Is that okay? The director glared at Tang Yen and sighed. "If something happens, I'll see how you're going to explain it to Sheng Xiao." "Thank you, Chief." After staying in the hospital for such a long time, the first thing Tang Yen did when he returned to the team was to talk to the chief about Mu Qiqi. He was not a selfish person. Otherwise, he would have arranged for Feng Shanshan to join as well. However, he did not do so. The director also knew that Mu Qiqi was a smart girl and hoped that she would stay and work in the branch office in the future. Let's just turn a blind eye to this matter. On the other hand, in order to bring Lu Chanshan back to the Lin family as soon as possible and resolve the misunderstanding between Lu Chanshan and Grandpa Sheng, Lin Mu, and set the time for this weekend. When Lu Chanshan heard the time, she suddenly got up from her office chair. "Are you in such a hurry? It's been so long. Why are you in such a hurry?" Lin Mu, and laughed on the phone. "Could it be that you're nervous because the ugly daughter-in-law is about to meet her parents-in-law? You're the ugly daughter-in-law." Lu Chanshan was anxious and scolded. "I'm just afraid that your grandfather doesn't like me. We had such a deep misunderstanding before. It doesn't matter. It's best if he admits it. But, if he doesn't admit it, it doesn't matter. Because I'm the one who has to live with you for the rest of your life, not Grandpa. Even so, I still hope to get your grandfather's blessing. Don't worry. Since my grandfather agreed to let me bring you back, he won't give you any face anymore. He's an old-fashioned person, but he still keeps his promise. I know him. Then I'll prepare well." Lu Chanshan covered her burning ears. It was clearly not that day yet, but she was extremely excited. "By the way, I still have to go to London tomorrow. It's not for your mother, but for the Lu Corporation. Then be careful. Don't cause any more trouble, my little pepper. I don't want to go to London to save you a second time." "I won't. I'll bring Vice President Qin with me." After saying that, the two of them hung up. Then they asked the assistant to book tickets for the three of them. The next day, the three of them set off from Jianchuan Airport. However, when they passed through the security check, Vice President Qin saw Song Buji not far away. "I didn't expect to see him here." Following Vice President Qin's gaze, Lu Chanshan saw Song Buji. She thought of the small episode that had happened between her and this insufferably arrogant man. "President Sheng probably doesn't like the Song family," Lu Chanshan said. "How would President Sheng have the time to pay attention to the Song family every day?" Vice President Qin expressed his disapproval. Soon Lu Chanshan threw this episode to the back of her mind. However, she did not expect that they would be sitting together in first class. Song Buji did not seem to remember her, nor did he greet her. The group arrived in London peacefully. However, when they got off the plane, Song Boji seemed to have regained his memories. He walked up to Lu Chanshan and said, "We meet again, Miss Lu. Thank you for last time, Mr. Song." Lu Chanshan was very polite. "No need." After saying that, Song Boji revealed a playful smile. Then he disappeared in front of Lu Chanshan with his assistant. Weirdo. Vice President Qin's assistant walked behind them and did not notice the two of them talking. Of course, this was because Song Boji deliberately avoided them. After that, they stayed in the same hotel. When the assistant saw this, she broke out in a cold sweat. "CEO Lu, why do I feel that CEO Song has a tracker on you? Wherever you go, he goes. This is too much of a coincidence. London is so big. Why did he choose this hotel? If it's really a coincidence, isn't it just wishful thinking?" Lu Chanshan smiled at the assistant. "At most, we can check out and book another room." "Okay." The assistant was worried and felt that it was better to stay away from this weirdo. Vice President Qin heard something from her. "You always meet this CEO Song?" "Yeah, don't listen to his nonsense. It's only been twice. The last time it was for the raw materials. He helped me a little but I didn't accept it," Lu Chanshan explained. Then she turned to teach the assistant a lesson. "You can't say that he's following me just because we met twice, can you? He's not paranoid. Let's change to another hotel. It's safer," Vice President Qin said. "Okay." Lu Chanshan nodded. Although the assistant felt wronged, he swore to defend Lin Mu An's position to the death. As a man, he felt that this Song guy was up to no good. Chapter 884. Fortunately, they didn't see Song Boji again in the next 1 or 2 days. Lu Chanshan's assistant heaved a sigh of relief. Because she had personally come, Lu Chanshan had expressed her sincerity, so the person in charge was very happy. Before he left, he gave Lu Chanshan a gift. "This is a product designed by my company. There are only 2 in the world. I hope you like it, Miss Lu." Lu Chanshan opened it and found that it was actually a man's cufflinks. It was in the shape of rocks, but the white diamonds on it were shining brightly. "This is too expensive. I hope your husband will like it." The other party generously gave her a hug. "Thank you very much." Then the 3 of them rushed back without stopping. They didn't meet Song Boji again. After getting off the plane, Lu Chanshan couldn't help but push her assistant's head. "You're thinking too much, aren't you?" I also felt a sense of crisis. Lu Chanshan didn't know that the other party's target was her and that she had fallen into a trap. She only returned home with the cufflinks. When Lu Chanshan left, that person also said that there were only 2 cufflinks in the world. One was in her hands and the other, in Song Boji's hands. On the weekend, Lin Mu and went home. Everyone agreed to go to the Lin family to see the old man the next night. Lu Chanshan was so nervous that she couldn't sleep at night. After thinking about it, she called Mu Chichi. "Xiaoqi, I didn't disturb your sleep, did I?" "It's still early," Mu Chichi answered as she drank her soup. "I'm going to see Lin Mu An's grandfather tomorrow." "What is his grandfather like?" "You've seen it before. Can you describe it to me?" "This person." Mu Chichi held her forehead slightly. "His grandfather is conservative. You should be able to feel it. Besides, I don't think you need to change anything because Lin Mu An likes you. There's no need for you to act obedient in front of the old man. But my palms are still sweating. Give the phone to Lin Mu An. I'll teach him." After Lu Chanshan heard this, she handed the phone to Lin Mu An. "It's Chichi." Lin Mu An had just taken a shower and his body was still covered in water droplets. Seeing that it was Mu Chichi, he quickly put the phone to his ear. "Xiaoqi? Your woman needs exercise. Please work hard." With that, Mu Chichi hung up. Lin Mu An was speechless. He looked down at the nervous Lu Chanshan. Mu Chichi was right. "What did Chichi say? Did she teach you anything useful?" "Yes." With that, Lin Mu An carried Lu Chanshan to the bed, not giving her any chance to refute. "What are you doing?" This is the experience that Xiaoqi was talking about. You won't have time to think about anything else. With that said, they began a passionate and crazy night. Lu Chanshan couldn't believe it. How did Xiaoqi teach this? When it was almost dawn, Lin Mu An finally let go of the woman in his arms. However, he knew very well what this little woman was worried about. Therefore, before going to bed, he hugged her waist and said in a gentle and serious tone, "Grandpa will definitely like you because you are the woman I love the most." Hearing this, Lu Chanshan closed her eyes in relief. Although it was only a short 3 to 4 hours, it was a good sleep. The next morning, Banyan Courtyard. During this period of time, Mu Chichi was already used to watching Xing Xiao go out every day. Therefore, she planned to practice yoga by herself after sending Xing Xiao off today. However, when Xing Xiao left the room, he said to her, "Dress more formally today." "Where are you going?" Mu Chichi followed behind him and asked. "You'll know when you get there." He was keeping her in suspense. Although she knew that this man was despicable, Mu Chichi still changed into a comfortable dress and followed him into the black Bentley. Recently, this man had changed his car again. He was really a prodigal. Mu Chichi thought that he pitied her for being bored, so he wanted to take her to Zhongting to work. However, when they reached the entrance of the branch office, Mu Chichi finally reacted. You're still Professor Tang's assistant? But you promised me that you won't go out into the field. I'll pick you up on time at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't eat anything. Fifth aunt will send it to you at noon." Mu Chichi panicked and hugged Xing Xiao. "What does that mean?" "It means what you see. We'll talk about it at home tonight. Get out of the car." Mu Chichi looked at Xing Xiao's confident face. Was he really going to let her be an assistant at the branch office? Mu Chichi hesitated and got out of the car. However, she saw Xing Xiao drive away. Mu Chichi burst out laughing. This man was obviously very worried. Senior brother Long happened to be at the door. When he saw Mu Chichi, he was exceptionally excited. "Xiaoqi, you're back?" Tang Yin heard the sound and came out. "Xiaoqi is here to be Professor Tang's assistant. Don't cause trouble. Don't bother her if there's nothing important. You know she's..." Senior brother Long looked down and nodded understandingly. "I know. Of course, I have to protect the baby. Go in and report. The professor is waiting." Tang Yin turned to Mu Chichi. "Captain Tang, since it's Co Sheng's kind intentions, just accept it. Since he's willing to let you out, of course he's weighed the pros and cons. You don't have to worry. You're familiar with the senior brothers at the police station. They'll protect you." It was rare for Tang Yin to say such a long sentence. Mu Chichi nodded. "Thank you. The Song family's matter can't be solved in a day or two. Go in." Mu Chichi entered the branch office and saw the familiar scene and smell of the autopsy room. It was as warm as returning home. "Xiaoqi, come quickly. There's a place I can't see clearly. Your eyes are good. I'll be right there." Mu Chichi quickly put on her gloves and sterile clothes. Actually, how could Xing Xiao not be worried? However, he could not bear to see her suffering at home every day. The little thing was only giving birth to his child, not going to prison. He did not want to see her precious time waste just like that. If the Song family wanted to come, so be it. As long as it was Jianchuan, as long as they wanted to hurt the little thing, they would have to step over his dead body first. When she touched something familiar, Mu Chichi immediately seemed to come back to life. Some people were born for this. Don't think that she was very weak. Sometimes, for her ideals and for what she wanted to do, Mu Chichi could be so tenacious that it was unbelievable. "Professor, this is a blunt weapon. Judging from the wound, it should be something like a stick." "It seems that you're not rusty," Professor Tang said happily. "That's good child. But Shan, she'll prepare for the forensic exam, so don't worry. She'll work hard at home." With that, Mu Chichi was relieved. Chapter 885. It was 6 o'clock in the evening. It was dinner time in the Lin family. Lin Mu and held Lu Chanshan's hand and walked back to the Lin family. When Lu Chanshan saw the courtyard in front of her, she thought that it was really similar to old Lin's style. It was solemn and cold, which made people feel respect. "Can you not be so unafraid of death?" Lin Mu and could not help but ask when he saw her nervousness. Lu Chanshan held Lin Mu and's hand tightly. Her expression was even more uneasy. Lin Mu and shook his head helplessly. It seemed that what the old man had done before had really frightened this Chili. It had left such a heavy shadow in her heart. Soon the two of them entered the living room of the Lin family. However, to Lu Chanshan's surprise, other than the old man, there were only servants in the house. She thought that Lin Mu and's aunts and women would also come. Because there was no one else, Lu Chanshan's nervousness had mostly disappeared. "You're back. Sit down and eat," Old Lin said to the two of them while wiping his hands. Grandpa Lin." Lu Chanshan followed Lin Mu and's greeting. However, she added the word Lin in front of Grandpa. The old man looked up at Lu Chanshan. It was not the first time he saw this girl. He had never seen her so afraid. "Let's do as we like," the old man said straightforwardly. "There are no outsiders here today. I haven't had a meal with this kid in a long time, ever since he ran away from home and went to the police academy. Okay. Lu Qianqian nodded softly. To be honest, I'm not satisfied with you. It's not because of family matters. You know why? Grandpa. Lin Mu, An's expression changed. He was about to stop him when Lu Qianqian stopped him. You're not as calm as a girl. Old Master Lin harumphed. In the past few days, I couldn't figure it out no matter how hard I thought about it. It was only when your aunt told me that she had once suffered a miscarriage because of someone else that I felt a little touched. It was as if everything was pardonable if it was my own daughter, but your aunt's in-laws treated her very well. I thought, could it be that there's really something wrong with me? Later, your aunt told me that when I was in the hospital for treatment, this girl worried a lot behind my back. She invited an authoritative doctor from abroad and taught the irresponsible caregiver a lesson. She did even better than you, her own grandson. I wanted to say that this lass was here to save face, but your aunt didn't tell me, so I had no idea at all. Turns out she was still in the background, putting in so much effort. This old man is too narrow-minded. Now that things have come to this, I've already softened my heart. But you're a hard bone to chew. You didn't give me a way out at all until your parents came out. Grandpa. Lin Mu and held Lu Qianqian's hand and said, you know that I used to be a playboy, but there is only one girl I truly like. In this life, I don't plan to live with anyone else. Even if you don't agree today, I will still marry her. But because of her, I know about family and responsibility. So, I must do well and show you that your grandson can also be successful. I know about you winning the award. The old man nodded. There's no need to prove it. I've lost. It's this girl who changed you. Since this matter is settled, I'll bring some gifts to the Lu family to propose marriage, and let the two of you have an official status. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, Grandpa. Lu Qianqian's eyes were red. It's not easy for a girl to earn money. If you encounter this bastard in the future, don't stand up for him. Grandpa is still here. I know, Grandpa. The old man admitted that he was no match for the feelings between the two of them. Perhaps he was really old, or perhaps he had lived for so many years, but he still didn't know what true love was. The engagement ceremony doesn't need to be too grand, but you still need to have the necessary etiquette. You can set the time yourself. After hearing the old man's words, Lin Mu and took the opportunity to hold Lu Qianqian's hand, and the cuff on his sleeve shone brightly. Why dress up so flashy when you're just going home for a meal? The old man was a little displeased. Your granddaughter-in-law gave it to me. Lin Mu and looked proud. I'm just presenting it to Buddha with borrowed flowers. Lu Qianqian naturally told Lin Mu and about the origin of the cuff. However, she had planned to give it as a business gift, but Lin Mu and felt that it was inappropriate. Then he used the excuse that there were no other men in the house to take the cuff. In the future, when he's in the police academy, you should come often for dinner, the old man said to Lu Qianqian. There's no one else at home and his aunt is often not at home. Okay. During this meal, old Lin finally acknowledged Lu Qianqian's identity. The two of them had wanted to stay at the Lin family's house for the night, but old Lin had turned Lin Mu, An's room, into a dog kennel because of his anger. It had not been restored, so he chased the two of them out of the house. The two of them walked hand in hand, their faces full of happiness. We've finally come to an end. Lu Qianqian covered her face, unable to believe what had just happened. Scumbag, we've finally gotten your grandfather's recognition. After saying that, Lu Qianqian took out her phone, but Lin Mu and snatched it away. Are you going to call the pregnant woman again? Isn't this kind of thing worth celebrating? It's worth it, but you've been harassing Xiaoqi too often recently. As he said that, Lin Mu and kissed Lu Qianqian's lips on the street. Or, do you think we're not busy enough? Knowing that there was a hidden meaning in his words, Lu Qianqian glared at him. Is that all the police academy taught you? Lin Mu and was pleased with himself and lifted Lu Qianqian's chin. Male animals are born like this. At this point, Lin Mu and quickened his pace. On the other side, in the Song family, Song Buji was playing with the bright cufflink. He didn't know if Lu Qianqian had given it to him. If Lin Mu and wore the cufflink, then the show would be quite good. Because recently he had planned to wear this cufflink. Moreover, he had the idea of creating a chance encounter with old Lin. He would break up Lin Mu and Lu Qianqian, then tell Lu Qianqian the truth. Then he would see Lu Qianqian angrily looking for Mu Qiqi and have a big sister fight. This was the script that he had arranged. But, sorry, the personal script had not been approved by the actors, and the actors did not have to follow it. This was because Song Buji would never have expected that Vice President Qin, who was beside Lu Qianqian, was sent by Xing Xiao. As long as she fed this information back to Xing Xiao, he would naturally have his own judgment. Because Xing Xiao was already suspicious, he shifted his focus. Chapter 886. The Lin family quickly prepared the things needed for the marriage proposal and called Mama Lu. There was no man in the Lu family now, but old Lin did not miss out on the necessary etiquette. The two families chose a weekend to gather together because Old Master Lin was about to attend an important meeting with his comrades. Old Master Shin was also going with him. So, he planned to completely settle the matter of the brat in the family before he left. Mama Lu did not expect Old Lin to come in person, nor did she expect that her daughter would be able to enjoy a good life after suffering. So Mama Lu showed her good manners, which made Old Lin feel more at ease. Mu An looked like a young master of an aristocratic family at first, but after getting to know him for a long time, you will know that he is a very responsible man. When Qianqian's father passed away and there was no man in the family, it was Mu An who supported us out of our predicament. Old Lin, I thank you for this. You have raised a very outstanding grandson. Of course, Old Lin knew about this matter. At first he strongly opposed it. His own family was fine, but they had to wear mourning clothes for others. But now that he thought about it, this brat probably began to grow up from that time. The relationship between the two children is already in place. I won't say much. We will be a family in the future. Mu An has never had a mother since he was young. With you around, I am relieved. As for the engagement date, you can decide. It doesn't matter if there is a wedding or not, but it must be an engagement. I have wronged Qianqian all this time, and it can be considered my compensation to her. This was because Old Master Lin wanted to convey the Lin family's intentions. But I will be bold enough to make the decision. Mama Lu took over the matter. That's good. What an old man like me comes up with probably won't be what the young people want. You guys can do it. Just like that, the two families officially met, and the marriage between the two was also confirmed. Lu Qianqian did not expect things to go so smoothly. She even felt a strong sense of insecurity. Brat's room has been restored to its original state. You can stay at home. After the engagement, you can live wherever you want. Then 1, 3 and 5 will stay here and 2, 4 and 6 will stay at home. Because Mu An knew that whether it was Mama Lu or Old Lin, their homes were very cold. With this arrangement, he and Lu Qianqian could be filial to the elders on both sides. At least you still have a conscience. I'll leave for Luohai with Old Shin tomorrow. I'll only be back in 3 days. Then you should go home tonight. Lu Qianqian leaned on Lin Mu An's arm. Accompany Grandpa. I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. Lin Mu An whispered into Lu Qianqian's ear. Got it. Lu Qianqian blushed. Look at this young couple, they are so attached to each other, they can't even separate for a night? In the end, Lin Mu An followed Old Lin back to the Lin family. So that night, Lu Qianqian could only look at Lin Mu An's razor and think of him. Song Jiang also knew about the comrade in arms that Old Master Lin mentioned. He knew very well who had given the order for the Shin family to take action back then. However, that person was already old and seriously ill. Old Master Lin and Old Master Shin had gone to Luohai this time to see him. Since they were old acquaintances, of course he had to go and greet them and reassure them that their Song family still had descendants. Song Buji wanted to go with them, because he had said that he would let Old Master Lin see his cufflinks. Even if Old Master Lin did not know the story, he could still make up one for him. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Xing Xiao picked Mu Qiqi up from the Jianchuan branch office and went home for dinner at the Shin family's house. Because Old Master Shin was about to leave, he wanted to take a look at his granddaughter before he left. Grandpa, you're only going out for 3 days. Mu Qiqi sat beside the old man and said, Is there a need to call me over? What? You're not willing to come over for dinner? Of course not. Old Master Lin will be back in 3 days, but I'll be in Luohai. You don't need to know the reason for this period of time. It might take a few months. I don't want my precious great-grandson to be born by the time I come back. After listening to Old Master Shin's explanation, Mu Qiqi quickly asked, It's surrounded by the sea. You can finally fish to your heart's content. 8th brother Jianchuan will go with me. I haven't seen Elder Lu for many years. I'll have to trouble you to take care of the Shin family. Don't worry. Xing Xiao was extraordinarily calm and only said these 2 words. Then Dad doesn't have to be gone for so long, does he? Why? You can't bear to part with me? Shen Jianchuan asked Mu Qiqi in return. You have eighth brother to take care of you now, and the Sheng family dotes on you. We're not worried. If you encounter any danger, you know who to look for. Mu Qiqi knew very well that something must have happened when she went to see her comrades. However, she would not ask too much. Then come back early. I'm still waiting for the baby to be born and for you to name it. Mu Qiqi patted her belly and said, Master Xiao, you don't mind, do you? Grandpa is naturally the best candidate. Be good. When I give birth to your second baby, you can name it properly. As for my Badian, I don't know what rank it will be. The whole family was amused by this clown. Huang Yu glared at her. How can you name your child like that? Mu Qiqi turned to look at Sheng Xiao and blinked. Sheng Xiao received the signal, so he tried to smooth things over. I'm used to hearing her say that. I think Badian isn't bad. Eighth brother, you spoil her. Sheng Xiao did not deny it. The family chatted and laughed as they finished dinner. Then Dad, Grandpa, you guys have a smooth journey tomorrow. I'm pregnant, so I won't be sending you off. Stop messing around. Go back and rest. Old Master Shen quickly took care of them. Then Sheng Xiao left the Shen family with Mu Qiqi. However, on the way back, Mu Qiqi could not help but ask, what exactly happened? Do you remember the story of the brigade commander I told you before? That's Grandpa. Ansong Jiang was the only one alive among the five of them. This time, Grandpa and Dad went over because the old chief who gave the order to command him was seriously ill. Grandpa probably wanted to accompany him on his last journey to avoid Song Jiang's revenge. After listening to Xing Zhao's explanation, Mu Qiqi nodded. No wonder. Will it be dangerous? With Dad around, it won't be. That was true. Mu Qiqi fully trusted her father's brain. Do the Song family really think they're innocent? They're fanning the flames everywhere and making everyone restless. Chapter 887. Mu Qiqi naturally believed in her man. However, as the two of them chatted, she couldn't help but ask, how's Sheng Kai? I'm waiting for him to take the initiative. Would he? Mu Qiqi couldn't help but wonder. Because this person was gradually drifting away from the Sheng family. 8 o'clock at night, Sheng Kai's apartment. Last time, Song Jiang wanted Sheng Kai to go to J-World to do something, but because of Xing Xiao, the matter was temporarily put on hold. However, this time he planned to bring Sheng Kai to Luo Hai. When he received Song Jiang's call, Sheng Kai tried his best to remain calm. After hanging up, he looked at Song Qiaoji wanting to say something but hesitating. Song Qiaoji was sitting in front of the dressing table. Even if she didn't hear their conversation, she knew that Sheng Kai must have received another mission. What did Dad ask you to do? He didn't say that. He just said to take me to Luo Hai, Sheng Kai replied calmly as he sat on the sofa. Luo Hai. When Song Qiaoji heard this name, she felt that it was unusually familiar. After a while, she suddenly reacted and quickly pounced on Sheng Kai's lap. She looked at him seriously. Can you find an excuse not to go? What? The case from 25 years ago. The commander at that time is now living in Luo Hai. I'm afraid that if you go, my father will use you as a killing weapon. Song Qiaoji held Sheng Kai's hand and said, No, I have to think of a way to prevent you from going with me. You mean Godfather will let me be the executioner who kills without spilling blood? Sheng Kai was much calmer. Perhaps he had long expected that there would be a day when he would become the same kind of person as Song Jiang. From then on, he could only use him. He likes to drag people down with him because after the incident, he can use you as a shield. Sheng Kai calmed down for a moment and then looked at Song Qiaoji firmly. Didn't you say that you wanted to find evidence of your father's crimes? Maybe I can help you. We can use other methods. Song Qiaoji shook her head. If you're doing this for me, it's really not worth it. I'm not going to die, nor do I want to get involved in these dirty things. I'll help you find evidence of Song Jiang's crimes. You help me get rid of Song Jiang's surveillance and go see Xing Xiao. Hearing Xing Xiao's name, Song Qiaoji was stunned for a few seconds. Finally, she nodded. Although I think it's probably crazy. Xing Xiao never expected that the initiative he had been waiting for would come so soon. Sheng Kai texted Xing Xiao with his spare phone, and the two agreed to meet at the apartment's underground parking lot at 3 in the morning. After Xing Xiao received the message, he vaguely felt that it was related to his trip to Luo Hai. Hence he got up quietly. He thought that he would not disturb Mu Qiqi, but she opened her eyes sensitively. Where are you going at this time? Sheng Kai wants to meet you. You sleep first. Will it be dangerous? Mu Chichi chased after him and asked. Suche will go with me. With that, Xing Xiao planted a kiss on Mu Chichi's forehead. Although Mu Chichi was still worried, she believed that her man would know what to do. In order to keep a low profile, Xing Xiao asked Suche to drive an inconspicuous car and put on a simple disguise. The car drove directly into Shen Kai's apartment. Under Song Qiaoji's deliberate concealment, Song Jiang's people thought that Shen Kai and Song Qiaoji were madly in love before they left. They had no idea that they had already gone to the apartment's underground parking lot. In the dark space, Xing Xiao asked Suche to press the horn. Then a black figure opened the back door of the car and got in. I'm being monitored, so to make a long story short, I'll follow Song Jiang to Luohai tomorrow. Although he didn't directly say why he's bringing me, I guess it's related to who he's going to deal with so that he can use me as a scapegoat if anything happens. Do you have any ideas? In the darkness, the man beside Xing Kai was unbelievably calm because he had already mentally prepared himself for this on the way here. It's rare for you to know who can save your life in times of danger. With that, Xing Xiao gave him a very small thing. Put it in your ear. No one will find out. I can use this incident to completely pull you out of this vortex, but you have to suffer a little. Thoroughly? Hearing these two words, Xing Kai didn't feel relaxed. Instead, he thought of Song Qiaoji. If he was safe, what would happen to Song Qiaoji? You look hesitant. The timing is very rare. Think about it carefully. I'll wait for your reply. Go up. Xing Kai's heart was heavy. He clearly had such a good opportunity to leave Song Jiang, but for some reason he didn't feel happy. A moment later, Xing Kai got out of the car and returned to his room. Suche also drove away. President, will Xing Kai be obedient? Hearing Suche's question, Xing Xiao shook his head. He can't. With someone or something he cares about, he can no longer stay out of it. Isn't that the same as courting death? After Xing Kai returned to his room, Song Qiaoji immediately pounced on him. How was it? Xing Kai shook his head. Time is too tight. Xing Xiao can't do anything about it. Why don't I go with you? Let me do whatever Dad wants to do. After hearing Song Qiaoji's words, Xing Kai laughed. Do you think your father is that stupid? Do you think you can replace him just because you want to? It doesn't matter anymore. I'll do whatever he wants me to do. Are you crazy? Song Qiaoji was so angry that she started cursing. At that moment, Xing Kai grabbed her neck and kissed her passionately. If I stay out of it, I'll never be able to get close to the evidence of Song Jiang's crime. This way I'll still have a chance. You're really crazy. You're not afraid of death. Qiaoji, don't work for me anymore. I'm not worth it. Song Qiaoji was stunned for a moment. She hooked her arms around Xing Kai's neck and tiptoed to kiss him. If we die, let's die together. Don't be so pessimistic. Maybe your father really just wants to take me on a trip? I really can't let you go alone. Let fate take its course. I'm no longer struggling. A person like me shouldn't have a good ending to begin with. When Song Qiaoji heard this, tears flowed out of her eyes. You're really crazy. As soon as she finished speaking, the two of them were entangled intensely. They could only rely on their instincts to express their passion for each other. After that, Xing Kai threw away the things Xing Xiao had given him and sent a message to Xing Xiao using the spare phone. Take good care of Grandpa. I'm unfilial. The next time we meet, we might be enemies. Don't show mercy. Have you decided? I want to walk my own path. After sending the last message, Xing Kai broke the spare phone and threw it into the toilet in the bathroom. Chapter 888. When Xing Xiao returned home, Mu Chichi was waiting on the bed with the lights on. Xing Xiao looked at the time and helped her lie down. His tone was slightly heavy. Don't you know that you're pregnant? What if I don't come back tonight? I'm just worried. What if the Song family ambushed you when you went out in the middle of the night? Mu Chichi lay down obediently. Did you see Xing Kai? Xing Xiao took off his coat and went to the bathroom to wash up again. Then he changed into his nightgown and returned to the bed. You don't have to worry about him in the future. Why? Mu Chichi tilted her head and asked Xing Xiao anxiously. He has his own path. A path that did not need to be protected. Mu Chichi leaned into Xing Xiao's arms and did not speak for a long time. After a while she sighed. It seems that old master's wish is destined to not be fulfilled. It's going to be a pity. Xing Xiao hugged Mu Chichi and patted her back as if he was coaxing a child. He only put her down after Mu Chichi fell asleep. Because at that moment what he was thinking about was not old Master Sheng or Xing Kai, but How many people would be implicated in this trip to Luohai and how much trouble the Song family wanted to cause? The next morning, Old Master Lin arrived at the Shin family because the two old men were preparing to set off together. However, just as the two of them drove out of the Shin family's home, they saw Xing Zhao's Bentley parked not far away, as if he was deliberately waiting there. When Old Master Shin saw this, he asked the driver to roll down the window. "Eighth brother?" Xing Zhao glanced at Mu Qiqi beside him and got out of the car. He walked to Old Master Shin's window and leaned over. "Grandfather, Xing Kai is also involved and is being used by the Song family." Old Master Shin understood what Xing Zhao meant and nodded. "Go. I know what I'm doing." Then Old Master Shin rolled up the window. Old Master Lin was sitting next to Old Master Shin. When he saw this, he smiled. "It's a pity that I don't have a granddaughter. Otherwise, I would definitely fight for this grandson-in-law. You won't have a chance in this lifetime." The two old men left Jianchuan amidst their laughter. Shin Jianchuan, who was walking in front and arranging everything, accompanied them. A moment later, Xing Zhao returned to the car. Mu Qiqi looked at the man beside her and said, "Actually, there's no need to wait for them on purpose. Just make a phone call. We'll be apart for a few months. I'm afraid you'll miss them." Actually, Xing Zhao had a deeper meaning. He did not know what would happen on this trip to Luohai. In the worst-case scenario, this might be the last time Mu Qiqi would see the two of them. Mu Qiqi was stunned for a moment and did not say anything. She had a bad feeling in her heart. Xiao asked. "Xiao, how many months?" Xing Zhao asked in return. Mu Qiqi calmed down. She also felt that it was nonsense. What would happen to the Xing family and the Shin family if she and Xing Zhao went there? Who would take care of Huang Yao and Zhongting? I was just casually mentioning it. Having said that, Mu Qiqi subconsciously touched her belly with her right hand. Although there was still some time before her belly became visible, she could feel the feeling of being connected by blood. For the sake of the baby, she couldn't take any risks. Feeling the warmth and strength of his palm, Mu Qiqi suddenly relaxed. There seemed to be nothing in this world that this man could not solve, so why should she worry about nothing? "Then I'll go in." Mu Qiqi pushed the door open and got out of the car. Soon, she disappeared from the entrance of the Jianchuan branch office. Xing Zhao looked at her for a while before saying to Su Che, "Let's go." Xing Zhao took a few glances before saying to Su Che, "Let's go." On the flight in the morning, Old Master Lin and Old Master Shin were chatting in business class. When the two old men talked about fighting side by side, they seemed to have endless topics to talk about. However, just as Old Master Lin returned from the bathroom, he was bumped into by a young man. "Old Master Lin." Old Master Lin looked up and saw Song Buiji's face. He did not seem to know Song Buiji, right? Old Master Lin frowned. "Do you know me?" "Qianqian, fiancé's grandfather," Song Buiji replied with a smile. "I didn't know it would be such a coincidence. You know Qianqian? We're friends." After saying that, Song Buiji walked past Old Master Lin and went to the bathroom. However, Old Master Lin noticed that the cufflinks on his sleeves were emitting a bright light. These cufflinks were exactly the same as the ones Lin Mu and had worn home last night. Old Master Lin frowned. Then he sat down beside Old Master Shin with an ugly expression. When Old Master Shin saw this, his eyes were filled with doubt. He immediately asked, "What's wrong? You came back from the bathroom with such an ugly expression." "It's nothing. I might be a little airsick," Old Master Lin replied. Of course, he would not tell Old Master Shin about this. After all, this was just a family matter. Moreover, he had not figured out the truth of the matter. "Then you rest. I'll call you when we reach Luohai." Old Master Shin did not know that Song Buiji was also on the flight. He was just deliberately sitting in economy class. He really thought that Old Master Lin was feeling uncomfortable because of airsickness. Old Master Lin did not know about the grudge between the Shin and Song families. Moreover, he had only heard about Song Buiji recently, but he had never seen him before. Now that he had suddenly seen him, he could not figure out the relationship in a short period of time. Moreover, he was wondering if Lu Qianqian had anything to do with this man. Otherwise, why would he have such cufflinks? Song Buiji was sitting in economy class. Not only was there a smile on his face, he was also playing with the cufflinks in his hand. He did not believe that the old man from the Lin family did not have any doubts in his heart. On the other side, the mother and daughter of the Lu family had no idea what was about to happen. In the end, Mama Lu decided to set their engagement on the last day of the 7th month after looking for someone to plan for a better life. After Lu Qianqian heard this, she was a little unwilling. Mommy, can it be faster? It's true that a grown girl can't be kept at home. There's still one more time, which is early July, but isn't it too rushed? Of course not. Lu Qianshan was very satisfied with this date. Then when old Master Lin comes back, I'll discuss it with him and decide on it for you. Okay. Lu Qianshan nodded readily. Then she texted Lin Mu and about this matter. When Lin Mu and saw that sentence, his heart was filled with sweetness. You can't wait? Of course. Aren't you in a hurry? Lu Qianshan asked with a smile. I'm not in a hurry. Lin Mu and deliberately teased her. A man is a flower. Scumbag, I seem to be a little relieved to see you return to your former liveliness, Lu Qianshan said with relief. Because I know that in your heart, you've always wanted grandfather's acknowledgement. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.